Hey guys, welcome to the Wicked Wicked podcast. It's going back to the new title. Kind of tripped me up there, but welcome guys. We're here on a Saturday morning for some awesome comics talk. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Cold.
Doing wonderful. I apologize for the echo. I'm in a big empty office with no furniture.
Oh, it sounds so lonely there.
Did your family just get moved into the house, Dan?
Yeah, just this last week.
Okay.
We have all the basic day-to-day needs all moved in. Everything else is in the garage, or will be coming up later in the truck this coming up weekend. But
Where'd you move to? Is it a new city or just a new area or?
All the way across the state. So it was a big move, big change for everybody. Brand new career, brand new place for the kids. Wow. So there's got to be some adjustments. This whole month has been pretty disruptive, all in all. Like I spent like the first 3 weeks of the month up here by myself, working while the family was back down there.
Wow.
Getting the house all situated. So.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah, that does sound like a lot. How do you manage to find any time for Adobe Kroger and all that?
Well,
he makes time.
I make the time. Yeah, it's like the running gag is like your 9 to 5 pays for your 5 to 9. So
that's a good one.
that's kind of how I see it. Like my day job takes up a lot of time, but in the end, it's just fertilizer, for everything else I really want to do.
Wow. Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Well, that's awesome. We're glad to have you, and thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Of course. Thanks for having me, as always. Always a pleasure.
I woke up, and there's a foot of snow on the ground out in western Washington.
Yep, same.
Jeez. And where are you at?
Yeah,
you guys are, so there's snow in Washington, and where else now?
Tacoma. That's where I'm at.
In Tacoma.
Well, I'm in Bremerton, so I opened my window and it's just snow everywhere, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere today.
Jeez.
I already called out yesterday from work. I'm not sure. Let's just say my without going into detail. Let's just say my job updated its call out policy to be a little bit more severe, so it could cut down on people making fake call outs, because we've had a lot of people who just call out just to skip work.
Really? On a regular basis, or
semi-regular basis? Like let's just say we've just had a really brutal turnover rate, and we've gone through a lot of people who would call out on the regular.
Yikes.
Yep.
It's just, so like I'm even wondering because like I said, I already called out yesterday because I figured it was going to be too dangerous to get on the road, because like I learned how to drive back in Michigan, so driving through snow doesn't bother me. It's everyone else on the road I don't trust.
I could see that. Now, when you have when it does snow like that, is it like a snow day at school? Do you get call from work?
They will call a snow day for just 1 inch of snow out here. Back in Michigan, where I lived, they would keep the schools open for 6.
Jeez.
Well, there's that one time when I was a sophomore in high school when they closed down school early because the snow. Looked like it's going to be really bad before the school day ended, so that was fun.
I've never had I'm in California, so I've never had a snow day in my entire life. I don't even know what that's like.
Nothing. I'll tell you this, Michael, from experience. Nothing ruins a snow day because, like, here's the thing. Here's the mindset you get into. You wake up and then you see, oh, there's a whole ton of snow on the ground. I wonder if school's closed today. So you turn on the news and you're scanning the school closures to see if yours comes up. The anticipation is killer. Then you find out your school is on the list, and all of a sudden you're happy. And then Dad says, go shovel the driveway. And you spend the whole morning having to shovel snow.
Oh, God. So you just get roped into
all
doing chores anyway.
Doesn't look so bad.
Not really, huh? Seriously.
Matt can back me up on that.
Well, when I was in high school, the driveway wasn't that long, so it'd only take about 15, 20 minutes.
Or what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, what is that just a thing because you were out in eastern Michigan?
More than likely.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a Western Michigan thing because
it depends on whether or not you're close to lakes.
Dude, I was like outside of Grand Rapids. I was like, I used to live like fucking 20 minutes away from Lake Michigan.
Now, does Maeve ever have a snow day? Think? You think Maeve ever could have a snow day in your story?
It snows in Aberdeen.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I could see that. I'd like to see that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
A nice
special snow day issue.
Right?
So...
you gotta have a roof episode, of course.
Yeah.
Every good anime has an episode on a roof. I don't know if you guys have you ever heard of that trend, but there's like it's a pretty common trope. So how are things going with the Mythoverse, guys? How are your different projects coming along?
A lot of exciting things coming up. We've been working very hard this past month on a lot of things that we can't really talk about yet, but they're coming along really well. And I'm excited to say that the inks for the W. Kroger issue 1 cover have been complete and are now in the hands of Brett Smith, and he's adding his chromatic magic to it as we speak. And I'm really excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I saw the little preview of the cover that you gave.
Yes. I'm thrilled with the cover. He basically presented these 3 layouts that were all very good in their own right. But the layout that I basically tested the layout with a number of different people, and it was almost practically unanimous that the layout that we ended up going with was the favorable one. So he really did a great job on it, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy to get that back, isn't it?
Yeah, to say the least.
And how about you, Brett? How are Changelings coming along? Changeling.
Well, we're still. I just recently paid Victor for another page.
Nice. Victor's working hard at work, it sounds like.
Yep, and like I said, he has yet to disappoint me. Same with Ginger. In fact, give me a sec. Because I went on my Discord last night and came up with a very, very pleasant surprise. Hold up, I'm tweeting this right as we speak. Matt, you mind taking this for a sec?
Yeah. So I had received over the week the sketch page for the first issue of Mythics, or at least the prologue copy. That is going to be. She's definitely going in all in on the project because she generally only takes on projects she believes in.
Oh, what was that?
What's going on?
Didn't do anything.
We've been infiltrated. It's an event.
It sounded like we had a record scratch or something. Yep, that's me.
I bumped my mic.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Is it okay now?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you said you have the first page for Mythics then?
Yep, the first page is sketched out, and I gave the approval to move ahead on it. It's going to be what?
Oh, so how does that process to go? Do you get like a test page before getting the final version?
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting. Huh.
And yeah, it's pretty common to get a sketch page first, just to make certain that it's to your if it's the way you want it to be.
That's a pretty good idea, yeah. Kind of before you've settled anything in stone, really get an idea of what the final layout's going to be like.
Yep. And this storyline, I've decided to do what I want to do with Mythic's one shot, and just have it be the glue to the Mythoverse. So I've got changing in there, and I've got paladins. And one of them I've decided to base off of Hercule Poirot. So that's going to be an interesting character to write. Let me tell you
that. Very famous detective.
Oh, yep. Yes.
Recently had
Agatha Christie, yes.
Yep, recently he had a movie directed by Kenneth Branagh.
What was the name of that film?
Murder on the Orient Express.
Ah, okay, yes. There's that whole series. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I heard they might make a sequel to that movie, actually.
Oh, they are. They already have a date planned.
Oh, wow. Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's gonna be fun writing his characters based off of a famous detective. But then again, Althea, for the most part, has been based off of Sherlock Holmes, despite people thinking that I based her off of John Constantine.
And interestingly enough, Adobe Kroger in the novel comes off as a Watson-type character, so it's very appropriate.
Oh, that's awesome.
Also, recently, didn't Beth do some sketches of Adobe and Althea back in their high school days?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Like, I'm not sure what prompted her to do. But I think it was because I had posted some OC fan art of Althea, and she said, one of these days I'm going to make her with a haircut other than a bun. And so shortly after that, she said, okay, here's canon pigtails of Althea, and here's her high school uniform. And she's looking all sassy with her hands on her hips, like scowling at the viewer. So I said, okay. So I said, hey,
I was in that thread, and I told her, are you gonna put her in her Catholic school uniform too?
Yeah. And so here we have schoolgirl Althea, and I thought it was so brilliant that I said, okay, make one of Adobe in her uniform, and this is how she looks, and feel free to make her flashing a rude gesture. And so there we have it. And I think she completed it in a half an hour.
I got it.
So funny.
She did not do Maeve, but I told her that she seemed to appreciate the fact that Maeve is a public school kid.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't quite fit in this instance. Is this like you said this is their earlier days? So would how old would Maeve be, you think, in this picture?
She's not even
probably a baby.
She hasn't even learned to walk at this point. Speaking of which, I'm putting something in the chat.
What do we got?
The reason why I had to have Matt take my spot for a moment.
Oh yeah, I've already retweeted that one.
Oh yeah,
it's very, very
good. Dang, starting to get some colored pages back, huh?
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. Whoa. I must have missed this because, like I said, I found this I went in my Discord, in the Changeling Discord last night, which you can get in for as little as $1 a month if you go to the Patreon. But yeah, I went in last night checking through the Discord because most of the time it's dead. There's there's not that many people in there right now. But I had a special channel set aside for Victor and Ginger to drop their work in that only they can access. And apparently Ginger had put these already in the Discord, and what I must have missed it because the date said it was from last Monday.
Jeez, it's a long time to wait.
I don't know how I missed those, but yeah, like
I'm probably wondering what happened to you.
just like
It's like, don't you want this art?
Guess you don't really care about the color anymore, I guess, huh?
I don't know. I wonder why she didn't. Why she didn't even? I wonder why she didn't even tell me. Like
well,
she didn't me. But whatever.
She assumed you were monitoring your
It
Discord
looks
notifications.
great.
Maybe.
Oh man, the colors are excellent.
Yeah, like I said, like you can.
Love
like
it.
the thing I like most about the artwork in this book is just how well Victor and Ginger's styles complement each other. Like
You're not kidding, yeah.
Yeah, Victor's pencils and inks, they've got a lot of movement, they got a lot of expression, they're very there's a lot of energy behind them, but Ginger's colors really make them pop.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm totally seeing that now in the manga pages.
Yeah.
The colorization, the choices of color, it all works so well with the art.
Not just that, I mean like Ginger has a really good sense of atmosphere.
Totally. Yeah.
Like that was
look at the dynamic lighting in that first panel.
Yeah.
Where you see the sun below behind the characters and
oh wow. That's cool. Man, I'm loving these color pages.
It's neat seeing Maeve as a blonde.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm not even sure she technically is a blonde because that's not her natural hair color. That's just glamour.
So you can that's her ability to like disguise it basically.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's just disguise magic.
Okay, that makes sense.
Wasn't this early on though? Before she was aware of?
Yeah, true, but technically, when you get right down to it, blonde is not her. When you get right down to brass tacks, blonde is not her natural color.
Are you saying she bleaches?
She doesn't use product. No.
Doesn't magic technically count as a product?
I guess it depends on how you look at it. Oh man, no, that's awesome. Congratulations on starting to get some of those color pages back.
Yeah,
they look fantastic.
This is.
Yep, they do.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the one that even if you don't like any of the Mythoverse books, I think you can say this about them at least. They all look good.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, you guys were lucky and really, fortunate to find these really great artists to work with.
Yeah, not only do they look good, but they're created by people who love what they're doing. So they're full of heart, and they're genuine and they're honest.
That's always important. Yeah. Yeah, you never want someone who's not really invested in the project, not really putting their all into it.
Yeah, none of us are clock punchers. This is stuff we're doing because we love it.
Or washed up like Brian Michael Bendis.
Superman's greatest villain.
Let's just be honest. The dude, as much as I like the guy, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man is amazing, and so was his Daredevil. Alias was also great, but his best years are behind him.
I just want to say that at least he's got a professional outlook on things. Unlike certain people like Mark Waid.
True. I'll give him that much.
All I have to say to Mark Waid is, "Oh baby, what is you doing?"
Now we have a special guest on today. Sauron, Lord of. You may be familiar with him on Twitter as Lord of Sauron, as Lord of Barad-dûr. Sorry. And he's got his new project coming up. And why don't you introduce yourself? Talk a little about your upcoming project.
All right. So basically, sorry, I'm still a little waking up a bit here.
That's okay.
Basically, the project is not the official title, The Four Swordsmen of the Apocalypse. We have Marcus, who's the oldest brother. He's war. Magnus, the second brother, who is disease. Sebastian, the next one, who is famine. And lastly, Caius, the swordsman of death. Basically, four gods. They have their mission to bring balance, quote unquote, to the universe by conquering all of reality.
And they'll do this by any means necessary, it sounds like.
Any means necessary. Each have their own different methods, but overall, as long as their end goal is bring balance, they don't care how it gets done.
And so these kind of big characters, are they? Would you consider them anti-heroes? Do you consider them antagonists, protagonists? How do you view them in your story?
All of the above.
Really? Whoa, that's cool.
Because to me, protagonist and antagonist is basically who the story follows.
So it's interesting. So if in a way it kind of, it's not so black and white as to say one or the other, really.
Well, no, make no mistake. These guys are pretty evil, but it's just that in my mind, protagonist is whoever the story follows, and the antagonist is whoever against them. So if you want to follow, like technically, Infinity War, Thanos was the protagonist. He was the villain of the story, but he was still the protagonist in the sense that we kind of followed his side of the story.
Rather than he had the character arc, basically.
Right.
I could see that, yeah. So that's kind of how you see these characters, really, is because of how we're following their story.
Yes.
When you get right down to it, even villains think they're the hero in their own story.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, that is often. You're right. I mean, that's one of the ways to make villains more compelling, I suppose. Yeah.
The most interesting villains aren't villains in their own head. Yeah.
Just like, well, that's the thing. Like nobody. That's kind of what's very human, just because like nobody ever thinks they're doing evil, even when they are.
Right. There's always these self-motivating factors that causes people to do what they do.
Not just that. It's just like there's all the ways people will rationalize their actions, like saying, "I'm doing this because it will get this." But yeah, like when you. But honestly, that's what makes even a compelling antagonist is that even they believe what they're doing is ultimately in the right.
Like in the Black Panther movie that just came out a little while ago, Killmonger was pretty. I thought was a pretty good example of that, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Killmonger. Same with Loki.
True. Oh man, I love Loki.
Like, well, apparently he's still alive.
Even Civil War with was it Baron Zemo? I know a lot of people don't give him enough credit, but in the entire movie, he thought what he was doing was the best thing to do.
He was actually very sympathetic. I mean, that moment when you realized he was just listening to a recording that happened before his wife died in Sokovia, that was actually a very compelling moment.
I don't know. I don't think Zemo he never came off to me like thinking what he was doing was in the right. He was like, he knew what he was doing. He knew this was purely for revenge and just to make the Avengers hurt.
Well, I meant like in the sense that he's in his head, he's justified in doing it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he sees the Avengers as more harm than good, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was another powerful movie in that series. God, we're getting into Marvel talk.
Well, if you want to go into non-Marvel, there's also Alfred Bester from Babylon 5, who was very well played by Walter Koenig.
Yeah, can you tell me a little about that character? I'm not familiar with that series.
Basically, he's a telepath who believes he's doing the right thing for his people, but in his case, the right thing for his people is genocide.
Oh,
basically,
God.
he wants to be on top of the food chain.
He's got a really brilliant line that really puts his motivations in perspective. Matt.
Oh yeah, that. There actually, he just got a lot of them, so I can't specifically remember one.
I think the one I'm thinking of is I used you because I had no other choice.
You know, to that point, Arthur Koenig himself had a very interesting character where he said it was so fun playing a flamboyant villain. It was much more fun than saying Factor 4 over and over again.
The villains are always usually more fun to play, aren't they?
Absolutely.
From what I've heard, actors love playing villains, and pretty much like if you're a stage actor, the ultimate role then is to play Richard III.
The ultimate villain. Oh man. Well, we were just joined by Wikid co-founder Matt. Hey Matt, how's it going? Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey Matt.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
We were just talking a bunch of comics and updating everyone on their projects. Did you guys? How are Mythics as a whole? How is the what can you tell us about the larger universe right now?
Well, it's a universe that has obviously our three properties, Mythics, Changeling, and Adobe Kroger, and each of them chief and approaches the overall theme of the universe from a slightly different perspective. But I believe the glue that's holding it all together is that it's a very Jungian universe. It deals a lot with the collective unconscious, deals a lot with archetypes, and I believe Brett can speak more to that than me, if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. What Matt and I have done so far is we've been doing a lot of the background world building. Like we have there's basically a bunch of supernatural realms, and all of them are in one way or another connected to the collective unconscious of humanity. There's a god's realm where all the various gods of various religions and faiths exist, and they're powered by belief. You have spirits which are connected to the virtues of humanity. You have the Fae, which are connected to dreams and imagination. You have I forget if we called it a monster or beast realm, but it's connected to fear.
Hmm.
And of course you got basically hell, which is where all of humanity's vices come from. It's something I crypt out of Warhammer 40K because a big part of that is how the warp is sort of influenced by the unconscious of not just humanity, it's every soul-bearing species in that universe. All of them are every thought in the basic. If I can roll that back, the best way I can put it is I'm gonna have to steal a line from from Brava Alpha Boost's parody series. If the Emperor had a text-to-speech device. Every thought you have becomes reality. Every metaphor becomes a literal meaning. Basically, if you can think it exists in the warp, and that's kind of more or less how the supernatural works in the Mythoverse.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's quite a unique vision you guys got there. I like it. It really sets it apart.
Yeah, like I said, that's what's it. Yeah, it actually gives it some identity, makes it unique, helps it stand out, and actually gives you a lot of interesting mechanics to play with.
Yeah, it seems like you'd have a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, definitely. Because actually, it's not even something that's completely unique to even 40K. I think Discworld even plays with this notion a little bit because actually, has anyone in here read the Discworld novels or any of them?
Yep, I read almost all of them.
Oh wow.
Okay, so one big thing in Discworld is that they have there are gods but their powers kind of wax and wane with time depending on how strong the belief in them is, or sometimes they even just completely change forms depending on what the times are. Because in one of the novels you got, I think it's Hogfather. Yeah, it's Hog, because you have it's basically the Discworld's version of Santa Claus, Hogfather. But he wasn't always the Hogfather. In the old days, he was some primal boar god.
Dang.
He sort of changed forms to sort of keep up with the times. And I mean, if you want to know how kooky shit can get in Discworld, because the belief is strong enough, it has a god for hangovers.
A god for hangover. That's an interesting one.
and the gods are not so much worshipped as blamed.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's Discworld.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me a little bit of Neil Gaiman's American Gods a little bit with the New Gods.
You know, those two work together quite a bit.
That is right. Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman worked on Good Omens together.
Yep. And they're friends, so
that they were friends. Terry Pratchett's dead, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Aw, R.I.P.
But I can actually see their conversations happening around that topic.
I bet, yeah, I could really see that kind of informing each other's ideas on that subject. That's interesting. Yeah, they're both really brilliant authors, I should say. And yeah, no, I never had the chance to read the Discworld series, but it does sound like it's quite interesting.
Yeah, start with The Color of Magic and work your way out from there.
Is it a long series?
Oh, it is very. There's like, it's not so much a series, so much as a shared universe that all the novels happen in.
Yeah, it's more of a setting.
Oh, like really? Oh, interesting. So they don't all necessarily tie in directly together.
It's more like they don't have. You're not always following the same characters.
Interesting.
Like, I think the most recurring character in the Discworld novels was Death, wasn't it?
Yeah, and in the novels, his dialogue is all caps with no punctuation, so you know it's Death talking.
Yeah. That's kind of part of what. It's kind of part of what makes the Mythoverse tick is that it's just everything's sort of connected to humanity's collective unconscious. So like, as much as it's not like we have as much influence over the supernatural as it has over us, and it actually gives us a unique magic system to work with too. Because I think one thing Matt and I kind of settled on was that magic was not going to be something that you just were born with an innate talent for. Harry Potter. Like it's kind of taking more of, well, to quote Hellblazer, the secret of magic is any C word could do it.
Now is Maeve gonna be an orphan and is she the girl who lived?
Well, in that page we saw, is that scar that will never heal, that will ache?
Right.
Well, I don't know. Is it? I think she's technically more abandoned than orphaned.
Oh, that's worse. That's kind of worse in a way.
Yeah, I kind of got the mark on the abandoned changeling or orphan changeling.
Well, technically, all the changelings are orphans.
Seriously?
Well, no. That's kind of, if you dig into the folklore, you find out that changelings they're basically babies the Fae don't want.
Oh.
Oh, so is there going to be a magic mirror she can gaze longingly into and see her parents? That she never had.
And what could have been, right?
It almost sounds like the perfect setup for a Disney musical movie.
Oh no!
Oh god, I do not want Disney touching it. They would miss the point completely.
Yep. Yes, they will.
Let's add Netflix to that list too.
Then
I do not want to see a Changeling Netflix.
Changeling, the newest Netflix original starring Will Smith.
The only circumstance I would allow it to happen is if I get to sign off on all creative decisions.
Hey, they're pretty good about that, I think.
I have to approve.
Not really.
I have to approve everything.
They'd
give Maeve like
good to work with.
Well, what's going on with The Witcher? They had the novel series author signed on as a consultant, and then he quit because they weren't listening to him.
Whoa. Yikes.
Yep.
That would be bad. I
Maeve
definitely don't want that to happen to Changeling.
Yeah, we don't want to see Maeve in like a party wig or anything like that.
They'll probably do another Sabrina.
No, just no. I don't even want to. About the only thing that Sabrina is useful to me for right now is just some occasional outrage marketing.
Well,
Now,
yeah,
there's that. Did you ever see that remake they did recently? What is it called again?
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
It's called Sabrina? I thought you were talking about the original one.
No, it's the remake. It's like every time Sabrina does something that gets it in trouble on the media, I just take it as an opportunity to say, "Hey, you're not gonna see, this stupid thing Sabrina did." Changelings.
Yeah, you're not. I see an orgy in this.
Yeah, it's probably more closer to the original Sabrina, if anything, right? The Teenage Witch show. Did you ever see that one? No one here.
I remember it existed.
It's a little before your time, maybe. I'm a little bit, just slightly older, but
I remember.
I grew up watching.
Marissa was in it.
It was pretty fun. The talking cat.
Yeah,
I had the fun talking cat.
That's the show. Yeah, the one
totally.
with Melissa Joan Hart and everything.
Yeah.
That
totally.
one isn't necessarily based off of the original, I guess.
No. So that's what I mean. I guess that's what I consider the original.
The original comic. It's a lot more like the Netflix version.
True.
The only thing I remember. The only thing I can remember about Sabrina was that was that the cat had the same voice as Norbert from Angry Beavers.
That's pretty fitting.
Hey, at least.
Mac.
What? Sorry, you cut out there. Can you say it again?
Me?
Matt?
Oh,
yeah.
well. Wait. What's Matt?
No, sorry, Matt B.
Okay. I was just saying on how that might be because they do sound a lot alike.
Well, isn't it the same guy?
If they have the same one. That's what I'm wondering as well.
Yeah, I wonder if it is. I mean, I don't know for sure. Is that right? What do you?
It is.
It is really. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, to bring it back to the Mythoverse, before we run out of time, this is something we got to clear the air on.
Clear the air, man.
Yes.
Special times.
Okay, so in the coming months, the Mythoverse is gonna be launching a Kickstarter.
Yeah. Woo!
And it is not for one book, it is for all three.
All three number launching under the Kickstarter.
Wow. That's exciting.
We're going to launch them as a shared. Yeah.
So you're going to be putting a combined force, forward going into this Indiegogo.
That's correct. Yeah. All three of our books will be featured and will be available. And I believe one of the perks will be that special shared cover that we are all using as our Twitter avatars right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Antonella's variant covers we had done. That is the high perk.
And
cryptic.
Yeah.
That you'd probably see in a museum, and each of the drawings is done in a style particular to the property. So you see Maeve there is very heavily influenced by Celtic designs, much influenced by the cunning, sort of got a pagan feel to it. And then Adobe's is like a medieval tapestry, like the pre-Renaissance primitive style.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that it connects in with the idea of the Mythoverse and really gets into the atmosphere and the feeling behind it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm just fucking impressed by what Antonella pulled off. Just because you see all the knot works and all the little detail that went into the Changeling cover. That's just. I don't know if you guys have really stared at Celtic knot designs, but they can get really intricate.
Mm.
And speaking of which, also we have we've also got a logo being designed by our mutual friend and Los Leonor.
Oh yes, I've seen that work in progress.
Yes,
it's looking amazing.
Yeah, she's currently working on a logo design for all 3 books. So it's going to be like a, how do I put it this way? It's kind of like how Image. It's kind of like an Image Vertigo deal. You know, like how you had like you'll see the Mythoverse logo on the front cover, but the Wikid logo's on the back.
Yeah. So okay, interesting. So you'll have your own logos for your series, but then a larger brand logo at the same time for the Mythoverse.
Yeah, yeah, just like pretty much. Yeah, it's just like we're just pretty much. Yeah, we're kind of I think it's good because it helps give the shared universe a sense of uniformity, and you can just take a look and you'll recognize it.
Exactly. So going forward with the Indiegogo, have you guys talked much about perks? How will people be able to pick up these books? Will it be a one gets all, or will there be multiple options? How do you guys see it?
The Kickstarter, we've got about like
it's Kickstarter, yeah.
Yeah, the Kickstarter has about I think Dan drew up like a rough draft of perks.
Yeah, let me see if I can locate that while you go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, like it's kind of we're trying to the thing we're aiming for was to give people as many options as possible as far as the books went. So you can basically sign up for one of the tiers to get maybe just one of the books you want, or some combination of the 3.
Yeah, I located the document in case you want me to go over it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have contributor tiers like low $1 tiers, and we have a $5 tier where you can get a digital download of all 3 number 1s. At least that's what we're planning at the moment. Then we have an $8 tier, which allows you to get, and there's a tier for each of the different titles. So you can say, I want a print version of number 1 of Changeling, but I'll just take the digitals of all the other ones. Or you can say, I want a print of Adobe Kroger or Mythics. And then the next tier up from that gets you all 3 print books with a digital download. And we have a couple more tiers above that where we're throwing in some simple little merch like character cards or exclusive avatars drawn by myself, and a special poster edition. The top tier gives you, of course, as we said, the cover that fits together into a poster. The three covers. That's drawn. Awesome. Yep. And then we're considering special tiers where if you contribute enough, you'll have a personalized dedication printed in the inside cover directly to you in each one of the graphic novels. And we're throwing around ideas with like simple merchandise that ties into the universe, like maybe a replica of, say, Maeve's necklace, or we're still spitballing around those ideas, but things like that, things that actually feel like they're part of the world instead of just having a character name on it.
Yeah, I think one caveat we have to add is that as far as print versions go, print versions are only going to be made available to U.S. backers. So if you're living outside of the United States, you're only going to have the digital version available.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just the same on the shipping costs. Yeah.
It's just too much money. It's just too much money for us to ship internationally, and as far as I know, Wikid hasn't ironed that kink out yet.
Yeah, international shipping's a whole thing.
Sorry guys. Like if you are living outside the United States, we're sorry guys, but it's just the most cost-effective way. Where you're only going to be able to get the print versions if you live in the States.
And perhaps down the line, maybe that might change, going forward. But at this time, that's how it just got to be, unfortunately. Yeah. But the digital is awesome too. So definitely don't, if you're international, don't hesitate to check out the campaign. It's still gonna be really awesome.
Yeah.
Still a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, the digital versions will be made available regardless.
Nice. Now I love the idea of the cover that the 3 covers that make up the poster, kind of the combined cover design.
Yeah, it's
that was Brett's brainwave, basically inspired by the X-Men cover.
Yeah, you're never gonna guess where I stole that idea from.
No. Is it a comic, like an existing comic, current modern?
What is the highest selling comic of all time?
Oh shoot! I think I heard this. It's like a Spider-Man, right, or something, or no?
Nope.
X-Men.
Oh, come on! You got no, Matt. No, I want to see if Michael and Matt figured this one out.
Matt might know. Matt, you got any hints?
The most sold comic of all time. I would probably have to say it's most likely Superman or X-Men. The year's probably 1990 for X-Men, and I want to say the death of Superman for Superman.
Matt's very close. I'll say that much.
I mean, it's pretty early for any of our characters to die, so.
Okay, so the highest selling comic of all time, X-Men #1, with art by Jim Lee.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It makes sense.
And
it was a total revamp. It wasn't a reboot. It was just a revamp of X-Men. It made it look so much better that everyone just fell in love with it.
And does anyone remember all the variants for that issue? And when they were combined, they made an entire image.
Yep. I had about 3 of them.
Yep, that's where I got.
Yeah, so
where I got the idea from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Brett had that concept, and we all just hashed it out together and great joined cover. And I was thinking, let's just make it a triptych and have it be in different styles that are particular to each property. And that was a great idea, and this is the result. It's beautiful.
And the best part is, it's that you don't have to buy 3 copies of. You don't have to buy 3 copies of a single book. You just buy 3 special variants of 3 different books.
That's actually what I was gonna say. That's actually, I love that idea. Because I mean, I understand why people like to get variants, but for me personally, I don't want to necessarily have multiple copies of a same book if I already have it, right? So it's kind of nice to be able to have the variants, have them all match up, but still have to contain separate books. I think that is a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, especially for backers who contribute a significant amount to the campaign and help to bring the universe to life. We feel it's an appropriate reward for that.
And that's also the big reason why we're doing them all at once. It got a little hard to do individual Kickstarters without completely trying to compete with each other over it.
Yeah, we're not out to compete with each other. We're here to uplift each other.
By the way, guys, I'm just checking the chat, and Cody apparently says he has all those variants.
I'm not surprised, actually.
Oh, the X-Men variants.
Yeah.
Pixar didn't happen, brother.
I thought he had the somehow he had the Changeling variants. I was like, he has them already, man.
He's a time traveler.
Yeah.
Well, he does know Jack Iron, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Powers.
Cody, I can only imagine what you had to do to how long. I can only imagine how long it took you to find all of them.
Jeez, yeah, that's dedication right there, man.
I'm just saying, like, if you have, what was it, like 5 or 7 covers of that issue of X-Men? How many was it?
Gotta be at least. Let's see.
Oh shit. I don't remember, but all I can remember is if you managed to get all of those covers, I would have framed those.
29 cover variants. It says
9 of them.
29.
There's 29 of them.
Well, I don't know. I just did a quick search. I could be off. It says
that's just like how many combined to make the X-Men #1. Like how many? I'm just.
It looks like 4 different covers combined.
29 did sound a little high.
Like one of them had Storm and Beast and Jean Grey. One of them had Colossus, Rogue, Psylocke, and Gambit, and one had Cyclops and had Magneto. Yeah, and it makes a really neat little battle scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's 4 of them. Yeah, it's 4 of them. I mean, like if you've got all 4 of those covers, like I said, like, dude, yeah, those got to be preserved. Like, you just need, like, you got to have that. Like, you just got to have that hanging on your wall, man.
Like frame it in stuff, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not for reading.
Please do. Or it should say something like break in case, break glass in case of emergency.
The emergency would be fire.
Right.
Yeah, make sure that container's fireproof. Like if your whole house burns down, that better be intact afterwards.
Also, if anyone wants to know, I'm pulling up the sales figures for this.
Oh, Cody said that sadly X-Man fan passed and he swooped in. Sad face. But they are loved. That's the important part, Cody.
That is okay. That's a real bummer, man. Okay, so if anyone wants to know the number of copies that book sold, 7.1 million.
Jesus.
And it's never been topped.
Yeah, it seems like it'll never be topped.
That much a year now.
Yeah. Actually, you guys want to know what's number 2? X-Force number 1, 5 million copies.
Wow.
They should have done a variant cover that formed a poster.
Yeah, that's the big problem with that.
Say what you will. All I can say is say what you will about Rob Liefeld. He has one of the top 5 best-selling comics of all time, and no one can take that from him.
Well, he was a god in his day. He had a Levi's commercial, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but it's like
say what you will about his art style. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, and he's now been vindicated on that Captain America design too.
Yep.
They actually found a guy who looks like that.
Yeah. Number 3 is Superman number 75 from 1987 with 3 million copies. I think that's the death of Superman.
No, I think that was that wasn't.
Yes, Death of Superman was the early 90s. I don't know the exact.
Yeah, that was like
year,
1993 or something like that for Death of Superman.
So what's number 75 then? Oh no, I'm looking at it. It is the death of Superman.
Was it a different Death of Superman? That wasn't the Doomsday story.
I'm looking at it. It has the Superman cape waving like a flag in the distance and it's all tattered and torn, and it says "Death of Superman."
What year is it?
Okay.
1987.
Yeah, I got nothing to say on the matter. So
okay, yeah. That was about right, because if you think about the hairstyle, he has the mullet. That's a 1980s hairstyle, especially in the late 80s.
Well, I'm looking up right now, and it began in December 1992 and lasted until October 1993.
Must be a different Death of Superman.
What the hell am I looking at then?
Probably someone who it's probably written by someone who lists Trent as the writer of rags.
Well, to be fair, he is a writer.
Yeah, but the sole writer.
Number 4 is Spider-Man number 1 in 1990 with 2.5 million copies.
To sell this much?
So, well, we're getting close to the end of the first segment here, and I wanted to ask if you guys could just give us a few final updates on all your projects.
Like I said, that we have the Kickstarter coming in. We at this point in time we can't give any specific dates or what the goal will be, but you guys will. But we will be keeping everyone up to date on those. And what the Kickstarter is strictly going to be is to just get our people paid for and also pay for the backer rewards. Nothing else.
That's our bare minimum goal, yeah.
500K would be nice, though.
Yeah, I would not turn it down.
Yeah, exactly. That found about in the next 20 years of Mythoverse comics, I think.
Yeah, like
To say the least.
Well, first we gotta make certain that we create some goodwill with our readers and get them out on time.
Yes, very true. That is
That's the
one of the most
key.
important. Yeah, it's for real. That is so vital for indie creators.
So that's
Yeah,
why
like-
we're hesitant to release a date at this time, because we want to make sure that we can meet it without any delays.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of wait till something's more solidified before landing one way or another.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've been making connections with some people who have experience with crowdfunding and projects. So I guess I can't say we feel pretty confident we can pull this off, though.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, when everyone sees the quality and the value of all three of these books, they're going to absolutely want to offer their support for it.
It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see all three. Right all out there.
Me either. It's going to be exciting.
Definitely.
Oh yes.
And Lord of Borodur, is there anything you could tell us about your upcoming project? I know you've been teasing some of the concept arts. Man, it's been looking great.
Yeah, there's still one more character. Well, technically two more. I'm gonna get Disease colored, so I have his color version. I'm still working with someone for Sebastian/Famine. And then from there, it's really finding an artist who's willing to work with me to draw out the prologue and stuff like that.
Nice. That's awesome. And yeah, we're really looking forward to that. And I know you've been really enjoying working with those artists. And man, like I said, that just really is, their work just speaks for itself. They really go well together.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how Disease turned out.
Right? Oh my God, yeah, so slick, so interesting. I love the contrast between that character and the others. Well, thanks, guys. Why don't you guys each go through? We'll start with you, Brett, and just tell everyone where they can find you online.
All right, where you can find me is on Twitter at Brett1106. Again, that is Brett1106. That's how you can find me. I'm on Twitter very frequently. You can keep up. It's the best way to keep up to date on Changeling's progress. And not only that, there's a link to my YouTube channel where I post other things, mostly stuff related to my werewolf group, where we're kind of in the middle of a campaign. But I also stream on that on a weekly basis with Matt and our mutual friend Tank,
who unfortunately could not be here today.
Yeah. But that's honestly the best way to keep up with me. If you find my Twitter, you find everything else. Because not only that, it's all the pinned tweet also goes to the Patreon, and it's just like I said. I'm gonna thank you for putting that in, Michael. Yes, just follow me at that Twitter, and you basically can find everything else.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And then Matt, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at Matt Trin on Twitter. I'm fairly frequent on there, so if you've got a question, you can just tweet at me asking about it, and make sure it's something I can actually answer, because I don't think I can answer anything about Changeling or Adobe Kroger, despite the whole Holmes Watson field that the characters will have in the inevitable crossover.
Yeah, no trying to get secrets out of him, people. That's not fair.
I just gotta say that it was all coincidental. We didn't have any secret meetings. There's no backroom deals or anything like
that. So you say. I'm skeptical. I smell conspiracy theory.
Oh boy.
Oh man. And then Dan, where can we get some cool information on you?
Absolutely. Follow me on Twitter at Molly_beans, and that refers to my twice weekly webcomic over at mollybeans.com. And there's also youtube.com/c/mollybeans. That's my YouTube channel. And I post sporadic comic reviews there. And there's also some content there that's thematically tied to my webcomic. And if you follow me on the Twitter, you can get all the updates you could want about Adobe Kroger. I post all our art updates that I get there frequently. And I'll be posting a lot more now that the cover is done, and I'll be looking forward to posting more updates on that. So yeah, follow me there, and follow Matt, follow Brett, and get all the latest about the Mythoverse.
Awesome! Can't wait for that Kickstarter. That's gonna be so cool.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be our first.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I had a thought, but it's gonna be our first crowdfunding campaign to have titles that are already under Wikid's umbrella.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh? That is kind of a first.
But don't feel that you're under any pressure.
Right, no pressure, guys. Yeah. And then, Lord of Barador, just where can people find you and online?
Well, it's mostly just Twitter as of right now for Lord of Barandor with a 0 at the end because I couldn't get the that by itself. Yeah, basically, awesome. I'm just going to be posting more stuff about that as I build up to actually being able to release more on the characters and the story itself.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, guys, for joining us today. I appreciate it. We're going to transition over to our next segment. But thanks again, guys, and follow them on Twitter for more information about their projects.
And before I go, I just want to say one thing. I know Cody's villains are the 4 Horsemen. I just want everyone to know that that was just a coincidence.
He's not. This isn't a Cody hit job here.
Right. I just want to emphasize that.
And one last thing. I still owe Lord of Barador a recolor on my OC panel, so I'm going to get to that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's funny.
Also, I want to say I'm kind of disappointed that we're not turning this into a roast Cody episode because because he had his little victory with Comic Central.
Roast Cody episode.
This week I also earned a roast.
I was gonna say. Maybe next time. Maybe we'll do the roast for Cody Fernandez next time.
I'll just say this, Cody. Cody, I'll just say this: if we do a roast episode and I joke about how you're not a good Mexican, you have permission to talk about how I'm a bad Irishman.
Well, I'm not a Mexican to begin with.
Well, that's the worst kind of Mexican. Not a Mexican.
I'm a new Mexican, which is an American.
There you go.
First.
That's probably what you meant to say, huh?
He's already got the roast game down.
Oh shit, son.
So he's can't.
That's hilarious. Yeah, we'll definitely be getting to the roast next time, guys. Don't worry about that. You can rest assured. Oh man, but thanks again, guys. I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon, guys.
Absolutely, thanks.
I'll be seeing if I can get to work today. Bye.
Good luck. Jeez, get through that snow, man.
Right.
Later.
Bye.
And so for everyone watching, we're starting up our next segment. We got a few more creators with us joining. We got Cody from Jack Irons. We've got Scott from the upcoming Wrath, and Mr. Ebi Canales himself, the elusive unicorn that always evades our capture. He's here with us today in the studio, in the flesh. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I think I'm trying to become the most banned man on Twitter.
I think you're on your way.
Do we get a story about what happened this time?
Yes, please.
I wish I had. One, but they didn't even tell me why. They didn't
I think they could smell you.
You know what?
It's like a spider sense, but a Canales sense.
They definitely have me on some kind of list because I tried to create a new account this morning, and I wasn't finished blocking the usual suspects when they suspended me.
This morning.
I mean. Yeah, this morning I have a screenshot right here. If you want it, I'll probably do a video on that later on because it's a fascinating phenomenon. They banned me within 10 minutes of creating.
Whoa!
I have to log an IP address after they find a certain amount.
I restarted the router. I should have a different IP.
Huh,
weird, dude.
Yeah,
Did you?
I mean,
tinfoil hat time, man.
Yeah.
They got one guy just sitting at a computer waiting for the word Canales to pop up.
It really seems that way these days, you know.
They definitely, I like to think that they have created a special algorithm just for me. Just for anything that
it's the Canales factor.
I'm kind of curious if you logged in or made a new account under a VPN, if they'd pin them down as quick.
That's an interesting idea. You know, worth a shot, probably.
Yeah, I'm willing to try for for science.
Pretend you're in like I don't know, London or something. I don't know. Yeah, VPNs are very awesome.
I'm writing this from Kukistan.
You're eBay Canales' long lost pen pal.
I'm his evil Arab brother.
Oh man, it's gonna just be like a long list of aliases, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big imagination, but I don't know if it's that big because I'm running out of ideas with who to impersonate this time.
Oh man.
Well, what do we still have? He hasn't done Ebay's mom.
Right, that one's on the list.
He hasn't done his number one fan yet.
And you could also do, let's see, I don't know, you could do one of your haters. You could be like, oh, the number one eBay Canales hater.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's actually a good idea because
you could blend in with the rest of the others and they wouldn't suspect you at all.
That's actually a pretty good idea because EBS has run famous. This other guy, SJW. I think SJW Spider-Man has seen it for both of them. But yeah, we need a special anti-Canales hater somewhere.
Someone, a man on the inside, so to speak.
Yes, no, that's actually a great idea. I'll take it into consideration. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Oh man, but how are you guys doing? How have you guys been since the last time we talked?
Oh well,
go for it.
Go. Oh well.
Well, actually, why don't we? We'll go. I don't know. Cody, I know why we will get to you, but I know you have a few updates for us. I'm sure. But go ahead. Go ahead, Canales. You were going to say?
No, I was going to say that I've been busy as hell because SAG has announced Ironsides Part 2.
Oh wow!
That's going to ruffle feathers for sure. And that's my favorite pastime, to ruffle feathers. So yeah, he wants to begin production by mid to late February. That is in a couple of weeks. So I'm working my ass off to finish the abductables as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm about to finish that one. I have like pages left, and I guess I'll have to let Michael do the promotion for that. And that since I'm apparently persona non grata on Twitter anymore.
Wow. Well, then that's exciting, man. Congratulations on that on starting the new project. That's gonna be really cool.
Thanks. Bad thing is I've had to put other offers on hold because SAG is in an apparent hurry to have it finished by summer.
Oh, interesting.
I'm a pretty fast artist, but still I'll have to put other projects on hold. Luckily, my employers are all really cool people and they're really understanding. So yeah, they told me don't worry, man. It's okay. I can wait. So yeah.
Well, that's nice. Yeah. It's good that you were able to work with some flexible people there.
Yeah. That's why I like working with Americans. You guys are really cool people. Spaniards will usually throw a tantrum. What? What?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. It's funny. I think from our perspective, we wouldn't have expected to that. Everyone always talks about the Americans being the boisterous ones.
You guys are you're serious when it comes to work. You take things seriously, but you also understand that every other guy in the project is also a worker. Is also a worker, also has a life, also has ups and pressures. So
not a
you're much more humane than other people that I work with.
Kind of taskmasters, maybe. Really?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. That's funny. But Cody, Why don't you, how have you been? I know you've been having some interesting couple weeks here. You know.
Oh yeah, it's stressful for
Yeah.
sure, and some breakage, most certainly.
Are you able to talk about that at all?
I mean, yeah, a little bit. It was just
I'm sorry.
The I don't know. It was a disconnect between myself and the actual situation, I think, and just letting me letting myself run with it, but also
just getting caught up in the moment, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I could see that.
That's a lot of it, and my wake up started on a bad note that day, but luckily I kept it out of the public sphere. So that's always good. A lot of people cannot do that, so at least I'll give myself that much credit. But besides that, a lot of good progress. As folks will know, as soon as Jack hit digital and worldwide, it was Comic Central's book of the week. That was great. It's on its third page of the most selling books already on Comic Central, which is kind of nice. I mean, that's like still number like 110 or something, but I mean, in the first week, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. It's been doing really well. You know, it's been selling well.
Man.
Yeah, thank you, Canals. Thank you.
People are buying it even after the sale has ended. You know, so it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm stoked about that. I'm hoping that's a consistent trend. If we can do that and get that just someplace somebody can always go look for it. I'm very stoked and very grateful for that.
Yeah, Comic Central is a good platform, and it was exciting to see, first day up, Jack Irons, comic of the week. I mean, that right there shows you. I mean, I think that speaks volumes,
Oh yeah, and they apparently were even cooler about some things than I thought they were. Real flexible and real helpful, because our first day we had our little hiccup, and that was resolved within a day and a half at most. I think it was just a day.
And it turned out, great.
Yeah. So that's been killer. Maxie, he just got done with his little break that he kind of had, and so I got a new page in. I think I'll probably get another one today, which would be great. So that's chugging along again. Finally, that's got my enthusiasm back up.
That's awesome.
Cactus Coyote also is back in production. So that he's redone 2 of the pages already for the preview issue. He's one of those artists who gets it done and then hates it. But he's fast, and honestly, he's doing it for free. So I'm very adaptable.
Yeah.
And it just gets better. It's not like he's ruining something or putting something bad down first and then like, oh, that was crap, I shouldn't have done it. No, it's just like, this is better. So
he's
I'm happy to work with. Exactly. Yeah, I'm happy to work with that kind of person. I'd rather have that, in fact, instead of somebody who just gets something done and then it's done.
Right, and they don't even think about it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's been nice. And I guess I'll do a short little a tease. I've got a mini of another character who appears at the end of issue number 2 of Jack Irons. That is also in production and will hopefully be able to be included with number 3's campaign this summer. But we'll see how it goes. Issue number 2 has to launch, and we have to get everything settled with the first campaign before I even consider that. But I'm stoked to have about 3 titles in actual production with art. So that's been a very real fun for me.
Wow. So I hear you hinted at a potential summer campaign.
If we can get all the hatches battened and everything solved by then with the first campaign, that would be the hope. That would be the hope. I wanna do number 3, and depending on the interest, stretch goals will be for further issues and spin-off issues. If we were to make bank, and I mean not even 6 figures but 5 figures, I can do a lot with that. So that's my hope. We came close with the first this technically second campaign, but with the first successful campaign, we came real close to that 5 figures. And I think this time, if folks enjoy everything we put out, and once we're finished with the first successful campaign, then I'm hoping that'll translate over.
Well, something I think is so cool about your campaign is that it was the way you set it up is that the first successful crowdfunding campaign was actually for 2 books, really. So I mean, if you think about it like that, and so you're getting a lot of material,
Yeah, that's my hope, and I would love to do something similar. I'd love to be able to finish this first arc of Jack with this next campaign, at least funded, and just be able to put them out. Because that means we could maybe potentially do it if I get the rates and such I need for my artists to pay them pro. Then I should be able to get this to a machine. And that's what you need to be successful and to continue to grow. You need that machine, and I'm still scrambling for parts, and that was part of my my issues this last week, was just scrambling for parts and being reminded I'm missing one by a snotty little fan who didn't want to take the time to actually look at what I'm doing.
Oh no!
And I let that sink in my head for a while.
Can't let the little things like that get to you, though.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
Just gotta take the bad with the good, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be bad times and good times. And mostly with this project, it's been good. So I got to make sure. Any creative really has to make sure they recognize that, or they'll lose the little bit of magic they've cultivated.
Yeah, no, I mean that's very true. Yeah, it's got to be for the passion.
Exactly. Or else you see it right in the art, and it becomes generic, and you just like any mainstream art. It's just the soul's not there. You're just looking at something somebody regurgitated instead of created.
That's never pretty.
No, it's not.
Oh man. But I want to point out Blue Dan Bob in the chat says, why would they ban your hot secretary, Canales?
I still don't know. Probably because she's a beautiful blonde woman, and that makes SJWs uncomfortable.
That's very true. They feel very uncomfortable with that idea.
How they go after canonically beautiful women like Blake Northcott. And they can't stand Blake Northcott.
I don't know why. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Right?
She's girlfriend material, and I rarely say that because I'm a misogynist. I hate women, But,
I think Canales has a online crush on Blake Northcott.
Dude, I can say for a fact that I have a crush on every woman involved in Comicsgate to some degree. I love them all.
That's fun. But it's funny. I actually got to. I posted on one of Blake Northcott's one of her feeds the other day. She was talking about leaving TV for good because there's no TV shows out there, and I was trying to convince her to watch some comic book based TV shows, and she replied saying, "Oh, I like this one and this one." I was like, "Oh shit!" She actually replied. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember I once said that I really like Blake Northcott. I really like her as a person, as a writer. And she read it to me and thanked me, So yeah,
that's cool.
She's a really cool woman. I want to meet her someday.
Nice, yeah.
Not because she's 6 feet tall and has like these bombshell measures, Not just because of that.
Is she tall?
I think she is. I've seen her in convention pictures and all that. Not because I stalk her timer.
Well, now you can. Well,
it was just a happy coincidence, but I know I've seen her in guns and stuff next to that comic book girl 19, and she's apparently quite tall. She's like this Valkyrie type Nordic girl. I like that.
Yeah, I could see that. Your Spaniard blood mixing with the Nordic. It works well.
Yeah, we could produce strong, beautiful descendants.
They would take over Comicsgate and rule the world.
Yes, our town will rule the world.
And then get banned from Twitter.
Be banned from Twitter forever. They're born with a deficiency that makes them unable to stand Twitter.
Yeah, it's a very rare genetic disorder. It causes you to be, toxic to Twitter.
What can I say, man? I think they actually did me a favor, sorry, when they banned me from Twitter, because I always end up being more productive, more happy, and because for better or worse, they always end up dragging you down with them. All the drama and the infighting and the trolling and all that, and you end up wasting time and energy.
That's true. You got a lot more time for work now.
yeah. I think for the better.
So speaking of with your project, I have some good news for all you Decimator fans out there. We have the third volume, issues 5 to 6 in print, with the exclusive cover and bonus material getting sent out right now. Getting finished up at the printer and should be sending off sometime this week, and hopefully we'll get it out in the store. We get those pre-orders out to you guys.
Awesome.
And man, that cover again. I know we talked a little about it last time, but man, that cover you did is just awesome.
Thank you, and it's still the fastest cover that I ever did.
And now I talked about doing a Spanish edition, we have a Spanish edition rather, but we talked about doing a print version for that.
Yeah, I do have a Spanish edition until I think probably this volume. I think it's up until issue 6. But I didn't have many subscribers, and it was some extra work, which I really couldn't do back then. I probably couldn't do it now, but yeah, I've been prodding the terrain, so to speak, to see if my Spanish-speaking friends would like the idea, and I think they would. I've had a couple of friends tell me that it could be a good idea. It's good to have some Comicsgate related in the title, in Spanish for all our Spanish friends and fans out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, no, that could even that even works in my area. Honestly, I know the Spanish is a little bit different, but I think there's enough of an overlap it could work.
Yeah, I know I've read comics, traduced by Mexican translators. Sorry, translated by Mexicans, not really by Spaniards, and I really didn't notice much difference.
Yeah, I would assume it's more colloquialisms and just phrasings.
And the good thing about with comics is, with there being less words in general, there's less possibility of mistranslation or differences even.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would love to get the kind of as Cody says, the bilingual aspect out there. I'm sure there's other languages and other countries that we can get the comics out to and just spread even further. Hell, I'd love to see a Japanese version of like some of the manga that we have too.
Yeah, I during my campaign I sold I think 3 to Japan.
Really?
So I mean, there's and I think one's at an air base in Japan, so that'll be cheaper shipping.
Okay.
You just got to fill out a customs form. But
interesting.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff.
Wow, that's cool, Japan.
A lot of publishers, I guess, won't ship to APO and FPO's, military bases, even though it doesn't cost them anything more, simply because of that customs form. So it's good for us little guys to try and do that, because I know the military folks really appreciate having some touch of home.
Yeah, that's nice. That'll be cool to be able to have some people out there on military bases reading Jack Irons.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. The international backers for us have been unbelievably patient and
generous,
understanding with how we're doing this. I've gotten 0 complaints. In fact, before we were trying to deal with the issue and addressing it directly in the public sphere, I had most folks saying, just wait till issue 2 is done and then send it out, or should I send extra for shipping? Things like that. So, but most people most backers who were willing to do the international, a lot of them knew what they were getting into, which was nice. I'm glad for that, and they put forward that respect to us newbies, and that's cool. That's faith in the industry right there, and I love seeing that.
And one thing I think we can all be rest assured on, especially for those backers, of your first campaign who are international, is that while the first one was a bit of a hodgepodge where we were learning how to do things, and there's a bit of some give on the part of the backer, the next campaign will be a little bit more streamlined and will be much more easier on the international backer, I believe.
Yeah, and that's if I want to do international again, we'll have to look at the numbers, and I'll have to charge what we have to charge, folks. And it's not
right. It's not ideal,
Yeah, exactly.
but you do the way I look at it though is while it is a more expensive cost, at least this way, though this will ensure their smooth process. You know, they're paying a little more, but they're going to get a better overall experience, I believe, in my belief.
Yeah, and exactly. And with those funds in hand, when you order it internationally, there won't be the same delay as this first issue.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll get your books promptly on time.
Yep, and alongside everybody else, of course, they'll take longer because it's international, but they'll be sent out in that order. This time we had to shuffle things just budgetary wise to make this happen for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's again, just great fans, great backers, great supporters for Jack, and I'll never stop being humbled and trying to live up to that. So thank you, folks. Anybody here too who's listening, thank you.
But Scott, we have our other creator here, Scott, and you have your upcoming project Wrath coming up pretty quick, or in the next, soon.
Yeah,
and
we pushed it back a little bit.
Did you? Oh, okay. So yeah, what can you tell us right now about your upcoming project?
Well, I think one of the new additions is my little rage puppy here that Wikid's Matt Bryant did for me. Was one of the first new additions here.
Shout out Matt.
Yeah, I did it. Exceeded my expectations on that. I also think I think when I was talking to him, this was one of his first digital pieces too. Is that right, Matt? He might have stepped away.
No, sorry about that. What was that?
This was one of your first digital pieces?
Yes, it's one of my first all digital pieces. Because what ended up happening is that in traditional format, which is what I'm usually doing, it didn't look so well, and I was kind of having a little bit of trouble with the spacing. So I decided to do all digital from phones up, and I personally love the entire process. I even have a video that anybody can see if they want to watch it. I can post it on Twitter or even here on the YouTube channel. So this way they can watch the entire process in a sense.
Oh, that's cool.
I'd actually like to see that because all I got was just, sketch to sketch.
Yeah. That's me showing basically just updates during the process. But yeah, I'll go ahead and send over the full thing to you.
Cool, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is things are moving forward with an artist. I'm going to quote Cody. Things are moving forward, just not as fast as I would like them to. But it looks like I've got an artist going. We've had a discussion about the Kickstarter that we're going to do. Again, it's pushed back. I think I was originally thinking this month, but with government shutdown and the pushbacks, I'm thinking maybe late March, early April.
So yeah, not too far back though. Still pretty early on in the year.
Right, and then we'll have a couple test pages. We're gonna go. This is the plan right now. We're gonna go with a variant cover just for the Kickstarter backers, and then we're gonna have some sketches to also show off the different characters that are gonna appear in issue 1.
That's cool. So that gives you that exclusivity that you can't get that cover anywhere else, but the back. If you're a backer.
Right, and we also I was pitching some ideas back and forth with my artist, and we had some good ideas for some, tiers for it. Since I have that close proximity to you, and we're gonna be able to do signed copies. I think we were discussing that's a possibility.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is an advantage I'm gonna take full advantage of. And the artist has also offered some commission tiers where she will, offer up some of her personal time to draw whatever that backer wants, be it Wikid, Wrath, or maybe some of their own art.
Nice. So there's a lot of stuff coming up pretty quick for you then, huh? A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work. We gotta start thinking numbers. What our goal is to get issue 1 out there.
And just to give everyone a brief synopsis, just for those who haven't heard of what your project is about, what is Wrath about?
Wrath is actually about a young man and his friend. He's got some deep-rooted trauma from his childhood that's long gone and past, but it's still, kind of dwelling inside him. Some recent events kind of bring that to the surface, and then this little rage puppy here goes off on a little bender. And he kind of wakes up with some memories of that and some strange injuries that he didn't remember getting the night before. And he kind of comes to realization that maybe something more is going on here. And that's issue 1, is kind of the realization that he's got this power in him.
Wow, yeah, I love the concept that you come to. We've talked a lot about a lot of the themes that you're trying to convey, and it seems like you're really trying to. There's a real message that you're trying to bring across.
Yeah, there's a lot of like some of these things that have happened to us that are beyond our control. We carry them with us, and while they're part of us, they don't necessarily have to define us. We get to choose how that happens. And it's a lot of emotions that are tied into, especially strong emotions like anger, revenge, and how we choose to express those.
I think that's so relatable. Yeah.
Yeah, the hero is a little bit more reserved. You're gonna see further down that there's other people with these powers, and they're not as conservative as he is with them. So we're gonna have some confrontation on that.
Nice. Well, that's excellent. And then, is there anything you can share us right now about artist-wise, or anything in that sense yet, or still kind of keeping that under wraps at the moment?
I reached out this morning to see if I could drop a name, but I haven't heard back, so we're gonna hold off on that for now, just because I don't have permission.
No, that's fair. Yeah, you never want to overstep on that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I will put it out there. It's a up and comer, no name. So this is an opportunity for both of us to kind of show what we can do. So
that's really awesome. We were really impressed by when you came first to us with the idea for your story, and so yeah, we're excited to see where you go with it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that surprised me is how far this idea has gotten me so far. And like Cody was talking about, I'm still at the blueprint phase, but it's about building that machine. And I'm hoping we get a successful Kickstarter and we can get issue 1 out there, and then we can just start feeding it until we don't have to rely on Kickstarter funds to finish the project.
Yeah, and that's nice. I know you mentioned that as well, Cody, as and stuff, and I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure that's kind of like something you're having to navigate right now.
Well, yeah, it's a funding period for any indie project. The more ambitious, the harder. But in comics in particular, yeah, it's tough. The only person I can think of straight off or the only project that I can pick straight off that has been successful in being able to get that model and that machine running is the Rags team. They have that consistent monthly, but there's a lot of building there that it would be very hard to emulate for another team.
So it just takes it takes time. That's the way I see it. Everything takes time. I think what Rags did is they did it very fast. They did it faster than anyone else. Because there's others out there. There's the other higher profile ones. Of course the big ones, but then there's your medium, high profile. There's all different levels. But I think.
I just meant on the crowdfunding bit, because the large campaigns that's a whole different story.
That's true, but I mean, I see Rags as on the let's see, is there another equivalent of Rags out there?
That's not that I know of that makes money through Patreon.
They're kind of the first,
exactly. So that's
the model to follow for sure. I would say
it is, and that's my thing. Is it would be very hard to follow. So
it's not impossible though.
No, I don't think so either. But each project's gonna have to find their own path. There's many positive examples out there, and it's hard to find your path. And that's
once you're on that path, that's the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta fight to that dream.
Yeah, I've got a path I'd like to take. We'll just see how it turns out.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. be ready to change plans. But it sounds like you've got things moving really in a nice direction with finding your artist and working on the story and the world building.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about. I think one of the first things you asked me is what I took inspiration from, and I can't really pin it down to one thing. Mostly because my world building is basically I'm pulling things that inspire me from my own life. The only thing I can say is that I kind of took some of the supernatural aspect of like Bleach, one of my favorite like mangas. But other than that, it's just kind of bits and pieces here and there. I can't really pin it down to like one thing that inspired me.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of an amalgamation of all these different things.
I like the sound of it because it kind of sounds like mixing superhero, the typical superhero tropes with some kind of psychological horror plot. And I think that
that's kind of what I'm going for. There is kind of a hero story, but it's not like the traditional hero story that like Wikid's Charger is going for, which I'm excited to see come to fruition as well. But yeah, there is going to be some hero aspects. It's kind of we're going to deal with some reluctance on our hero's part. Like, why should I do this when there's other people that can handle it?
Yeah, I like it. I like the sound of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Especially coming from you. So yeah, the idea is I want to get issue 1 up there, get people on board, get people excited about the idea, and see how far this can go. Like I think I told Matt and Michael this, but the plan is I've got a day job. This is a side project, so like anything that goes into my pocket is just going back into the project until we get it finished. That's the path that I'm choosing to follow on this.
To put it all in for the art and the work. Yeah.
It's for me. It's a passion project first, and then profit later when it's finished.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it because that's really where the love comes from, for these kind of things. And I always, when you're doing it for the right reasons, it's always going to come out better, in my opinion.
Let's hope so. Well, we've got a long road ahead of us.
And guess we can't count our chickens before they're hatched, but it's nice to look ahead and imagine what's coming forward. Get yourself hyped up.
Yeah, the great thing about signing with Wikid is that there's a lot of people blazing the trails ahead of me, so I'm rooting for them because their successes make it easier for me. So
wow, that's a great point. We don't necessarily often talk about it on the podcast, but Wikid really is a team. It's a group of people who are doing similar things and are passionate about what they do, and we're all here to support each other. I think it's really cool.
Oh, absolutely. I'm stoked. When I was signing, as far as I knew, it was just the three of us, and I'm happy so many amazing projects and contributors have shown up and have been doing so much great work and great word of mouth, and just it's a blessing to be around these folks.
Yeah,
it's amazing to think about how far and how many have signed on since just last year when you signed on too.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's been a wild ride, and you've been here from, like, as Matt said, you've been here from the start, Cody. You've seen it all unfold, with us. So,
indeed. And so far, folks, cool. You're in for a killer ride with Wikid. Good people. Good choice of titles, in my opinion, and just more to come.
Yeah, dude, for real. It's 2019 just getting started.
I keep saying that my favorite part of Wikid is that they have a really varied, diverse, if that's a thing anymore, of offers. They have like all kinds of genres, historical drama. They have superheroes. They have horror. They have, I like that. I like that it's not just a superhero thing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That was always, me and Matt always had wanted that to be like one of our major goals with Wikid, was we wanted something for everybody, and a little bit of, I think when you do have something for everybody, you can find readers of all different walks of life, like you said, and people like different things. And, I think that's too often you see one genre dominate a company.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I appreciate, I really appreciate all the kind words, and, man, well, I'm excited to see where you all go in 2019 too,
Am I the only one doing mostly black and white right now?
No, actually, let's see. Let's count. Let's see. So there's you. Then I have barrels that
that's
I
right.
work on
I
the
forgot.
black and white.
How could I forget about
Project R is
barrels?
mainly
It's
black
not a
and white as
manga.
well.
Sorry, what was that, Matt?
Project R is also mainly black and white.
True. Yeah, it's pretty much black and white at this point. Yeah. And then Adobe Kroger.
Black and white as
Yep,
well.
Decimators is black and white. I don't know if it's
And
because it has
Decimators.
tones.
And Decimators as well, yes.
Oh wow, yeah, a lot of nice. We got good black and white. A lot of good stuff. We used to have this. We're coming up with a new banner design based on one of our older ones, but we had this cool banner that was like a lot. It was like our logo and then an amalgamation of a bunch of different Jack Irons and a bunch of the different titles. And there was it was a cool mixture of seeing the color splashes with the black and white, and it was interesting mix, I thought.
Oh yeah, that banner was killer.
Right?
Sadly, it was as short lived as it was.
Yes.
But I really enjoy that banner. But
right?
now there's a lot more material to pull from when you guys
true.
collage it too. So
that's true. Yeah, we
should.
Neat.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
We should definitely get that out there.
Redesigning for it.
It would be nice to get that out pretty soon, especially probably get it out for the next convention for sure.
We're talking about the new Wikid banner.
Yeah.
While we're talking about that, I had a question because we were talking about when Matt was redesigning it, the eye and the little crystal ball there, and it seemed like there was a story
that's the
behind that.
logo. There's a new banner they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if you saw the banner. Too. Yeah.
I don't know if that's been talked about publicly. Your new logo. Did we ever discuss that?
I think. Let's see. Is that one, Matt? Is that one out there? Is the newest logo out, or is there another new one?
Yeah, that's been out for a while.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody, I know it's not a big deal, but it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a lot. We took in feedback. I mean, I'll let Matt speak to this as well, but I know we took a lot of feedback in to see how we could streamline it and make it more efficient. But Matt, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah. I wanted to try and make it a little bit more, you could say, quote unquote, professional looking, and a little bit more towards what you see with a lot of different publishers doing. But considering everybody's feedback, it helped me really create what really, you could say, captured the design of it, as far as focusing more on the Wikid in itself, and also maintaining the aspect of the orb with the eye as well. And I don't know if I can actually show you guys my screen on my tablet.
You should be able to. Well, yeah, I don't know on the tablet. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But I can take a picture of something to show you guys and see what you guys think of it so far.
Cool. Yeah, let's bring it up.
Send it over to the Wikid chat.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited because Matt's also going to do the banner for Wrath.
That'll be cool.
The logo for it.
Yeah. Sorry, logo. I'm getting the two confused. Yeah.
So yeah, send over the picture and I'll go ahead and bring it up and then screen share with everyone. But yeah, no, you mentioned you asked a little earlier about the eye. You said, is there a story there?
Yeah, because he said that it was important.
Yes, there's a story. There's a story, and actually, there's a story. There's a character even.
Exactly. That's kind of the whole thing. Because what I noticed is that through a lot of companies is that it's more, they have not necessarily just the logo or a brand name. They have also a brand image. Like when you think of Disney, most people think of Mickey Mouse. When you think of Marvel, you tend to think of Iron Man or even Captain America. When you think of DC, Batman or Superman, usually Superman. But it's those characters that really help embody the brand name itself. So what I've been doing recently is talking with Michael, and in line with the orb and kind of what me and him have been planning for a certain project we want to do for Wikid as a whole, we came out with a character. I don't think we have a name for him yet, though.
Oh yeah.
You guys did better. You guys are giving me the old heavy metal kind of vibe. The Eddie from Maiden.
Exactly.
Vic from Megadeth, and I don't remember. I think he's called Vengeance from Disturbed. That concept, I love that.
Oh yeah.
But those kinds of things really helped establish not only just a brand, but also themes
a character
and
yeah,
tones and what you should kind of necessarily expect, but also be wary of, in a sense. Like, don't expect everything that you're seeing, because you can never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
No, that's
Very
really cool. I like that idea of that you reference with like Disturbance stuff, because that's actually a good way of looking at it, you know. And not only that, but we also want to, you know, potentially bring it into you know, like you said, with comic projects and other things, and you know, we want to expand that out, and we have a lot of fun ideas for it, you know. The character, can we reveal what the characters? I know we've talked a little bit about the character, I think maybe, but can we reveal that to them, Matt?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So basically,
we can go ahead and put it up on here right now.
That's yeah, let's do it. Basically, I mean, the basic idea behind him is he's a what is it? He's like a well, there's the comic's called the main comic is, or spin-off comic is called Paraphernalians. And he runs a marijuana dispensary in outer space for aliens and other intergalactic beings.
I love it. Okay.
Thank you.
But at the same time as being a dispensary, he also sells books and comics, and some of the titles that you'll see are our titles.
Wikid titles on his shelves. You know, it's a fun little nod to the you know, our branding and our guys here at Wikid.
So when you guys have
if we ever have something that we could use a comic strip, we could introduce the comics by using that as well.
Totally. Yeah. No. If you guys once you have him solid design, concept, all that, I'm sure I'll know, but I would love to have him be a little. You guys aren't familiar with magic, but I'm trying to think of an Easter egg, but a very specific type of Easter egg. We'll go through there, but the universe certainly can accommodate a marijuana dispensary. Lizard dealer. Well, he's also coyote. That fits right in. It's funny.
Right?
that would be pretty cool.
And on top of it, he's also a lizard wizard, which I like to call him.
Is he a lizard wizard?
He's pretty much
wizard.
Michael, if you want, you can bring up the screen cap so that this way people can see the actual progress that I have right now.
What do you mean?
I put it in the Wikid chat. So.
Oh, I was looking for the Google chat. Sorry.
Oh, really? You can bring it up on the Google chat?
I could. Yeah, but that's no cool. I can do it here too.
That's cool. You just got to put him in a blizzard at some point for the robot chicken. You know, lizard wizard in a blizzard, yo.
That's a trifecta.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share now. Let's see, screen share. Can everyone see me?
No.
How about now? Oh boy, what's happening?
I see infinity. That's what I see.
Wikidception.
What? Okay, is this better?
There it is.
Okay, my bad, yo. My bad. So this is the newest redesign that he's undergone. He had a couple designs before, but this is the newest one Matt came up with. But I like it. I love it.
Grin.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. Go ahead.
He kind of has like a DBZ feel to him too, which I like.
That's exactly what I was thinking, bro. Because I was about to say, to me, the old design was like the regular Boo. This is what I told Matt. I said, the old design was like the regular Boo, and this one's like the super Boo, man, where he's ready to fight, man.
Reminds me of you go for it. Sorry, Canals.
No, it's okay. I was going to say that it reminds me of the seed guys that that Piccolo creates in the first Dragon Ball series.
Oh yeah,
the Cybermen.
Huh?
Yeah, I didn't know how they're called, but yeah.
But my best friend, I showed him this last night, and he was like, "Dude, I really like how sinister he looks." And I was like, "Hey, yeah, you know, I didn't even think about it, but he does have like a sinister grin on him, and it does remind me of the Cybermen that they fought in the during the Saiyan saga. That's hilarious, man."
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Maybe I'll end up killing Yamcha too.
Oh shit!
Strong breeze could.
Can we do that? Put a little crater in the background with a little guy line in it.
That's awesome,
maybe,
right?
Maybe.
Oh man, but no, I like it. I like it a lot, man. But yeah, so no. Real quick side note: does anyone watch Dragon Ball Super?
I haven't really gotten into it yet. I've watched episodes.
I believe I'm close to caught up on the dub. So
okay, because there's a hilarious dub episode I just saw because I watched the dub as well, and I just saw about a couple months ago I saw a really funny episode that was actually called back to that Yamcha episode where he blows up, and they're playing baseball, and I won't spoil anything, but it's you get a eerily similar flashback, and you're like, wait a second, even the characters like kind of call it out. Do you remember that one, Cody?
No, I might not be as caught up as I think I am.
Oh no!
I think I saw something about this, and it did sound hilarious.
Go on.
Oh, that was it. Go ahead.
Oh, I do love on how in Super they really do use Yamcha as a way to like, because he's very self-aware on how much he sucks at fighting compared to everybody else. And because I always remember the first movie of Super that they did, and where he's like, "Here, I'll protect the daughter," and she's like, "No, you can go and fight." He's like, "I'm not good at that anymore."
Yeah, no, he's become really a very funny comedic relief. They rag on him a lot.
Honestly, he always was. They made him serious.
Yeah, it's like they brought him back to Dragon Ball style.
Yes, exactly. And then they made him a little bit serious once Dragon Ball went from fantasy to a classic shonen battle manga, which is the first tournament arc. It really goes there just right away. But before that, he's just comic relief with I'm the villain, and he never does anything villainous.
Yeah, I remember he was mildly dangerous the first time he appeared. Like he had this martial arts technique that was kind of something, the wolf something.
The wolf fang fist. Yeah, that's and then for a little bit he knows that Goku's weak from his tail. And then they hold Akira holds that over your head for like a chapter or two, and then when it matters, they don't do it. And then Goku turns into the monkey the first time, and they do it. But it's great. I just started rereading that. I'm almost through the first Dragon Ball arc.
Wow,
about to show up.
That's cool, dude.
It's a killer manga. I'm so glad I'm reading it as a manga. The pacing makes all the jokes work. The lack of censoring also really helps.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, I remember the first, because I was a kid. I read Dragon Ball as a kid. It was the first manga I'd ever picked up. I didn't even know what manga was at the time, and man, I just fell in love with it.
Back when America published them more as like comic books.
Yeah, they didn't really advertise it.
The right to left, and I remember being like 7 or 8, and being like, "What the hell is this, man?" Like I was so confused because I was just so used to comics at that point that I just kind of like put it to the side for a long time.
Yeah, it's funny. It's interesting the way we grew up with reading manga like that.
Not to show my age, but I have early memories of waking up as a kid to watch Robotech.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, wow.
That's a classic one. Yeah.
In fact, I think I even had the fighter jet that turned into a robot as a kid. Ended up breaking it because I was real young, and the head just kind of floated around in my toy drawers for years.
I remember I had a similar problem. I bought because we didn't know what Robotech was here until like I don't know, probably the mid '90s, because it was never really big here. But I remember buying a toy when I was a kid, and it was one of the, I don't know, I probably bought one of the bad guys because it was like green and like monstrous looking, and I broke the head as well, and the head also remained floating around my Transformers box for years. I think it's still there somewhere.
Aren't they?
To be honest, I never lost heads. I always lost arms. Arms or legs are usually the things that broke off with me, and it could be because I always played with the action figures and made them play war and everything. So that could be why. But at the same time, it's probably expected, to have a few pieces floating around here or there.
Yeah, it was weird. Back in the '80s to have a full toy with all the pieces attached to it. There was always something missing from one of them.
Jeez. Well, we're getting close to wrapping up here at the towards the end of this segment. Can each of you go down the line and tell us a little bit about what you got upcoming projects and stuff like that? Plugs.
I'll plug. I'll start. So far, best way to support us at the moment is through Comic Central, thanks to Wikid. The link shouldn't be too hard to find, especially on my Twitter. I really try to retweet it. If somebody could throw it in chat or YouTube chat, that'd be great. If you folks want to pick up the first issue full color and throw us a couple bones to keep things going along and keep this machine growing and just getting it speeding up, more powerful, that would be awesome. Quick update on issue number 2 for our backers. Since Maxie is back to work, so far we are 7 pages in. I know that doesn't sound like much, but at the rate he's working, we should be done hopefully mid-March. And I'm hoping to connect with my colorist here soon, who's went through a recent move. So that's also delayed, getting these early pages colored just before. As you know, with the first campaign, the whole thing was done black and white. So then I just took it straight to the letterer and colorist. This time we have the ability to do it as line art's being produced. So I'm hoping that also really speeds things up and we can get issue 2 out by end of March. But that's kind of where we're at. I'm happy with the progress, and I know you folks will enjoy what we're putting out, even if your patience at this point may be wearing a little thin. And we have a lot in the works. You can also go to our Patreon as long as Patreon's still around, because that's just crumbling like crazy. You can go to our Subscribe Star as well. Both of them are under Jack Irons the Steel Cowboy. I think Subscribe Star is Ironverse Comics, but there's not much to offer there, and I'm not a big fan of Subscribe Star not having the ability to communicate with your subscribers like Patreon does. So that can be an issue. So there's still not a great alternative Patreon, and that's the only place to get Cactus Coyote. You can get it on Subscribestar, and that's only $1 if you guys want to see what we're doing. There's going to be a remastered preview issue here pretty soon.
Oh, that's sick.
Going to look into how we want to distribute that, and we'll go from there.
And the Cactus is coming back, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's thinking he's gonna. There's a little bet in Ironverse Comics he wanted to do, so that's all on him. He wants to see if he can finish Coyote's first arc before Maxie finishes issue 2.
That's a fun little challenge.
It's a hell of a bet. It's a drink bet, so one of them's gonna have to drink. But we'll see. I have faith at the rates I've seen these guys work. They could do it. It could go either way, but my bets are on Maxie. But we'll see.
Yeah, you know.
It's like 90 pages compared to 20, so it's
yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a difference, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of things are still in production, and I'll even announce that the artist we have attached, we have an artist attached to Tracker Top Predator. So I'm really stoked for that. We've got a mini in production right now. So hopefully that'll see light here soon. Like I said, hopefully with issue 3's campaign. I'd love to throw that in the back of the book. But we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be a nice addition.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. A lot of really cool stuff coming through. And I love how you have your the Ironverse account is the famine alert.
Yeah, I've been toying around trying to get so the account is a shared account. I got it from somebody, and it's a little wonky. Like it doesn't get, like, when you're signed in, the feed isn't really there. It'll say there's no tweets, and it follows like 6,000 people.
Jeez.
So something's wrong there, but it can signal boost, so that's what I use it for.
I wonder if it would be more efficient, if it would help to unfollow some just to even out the balance. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing there. I have no clue why. But anywho, yeah, it's as if I mean, once in a while I'll get 1 or 2 tweets, sometimes from you guys in the timeline, sometimes from my main account. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't understand it. But I do get retweets and stuff, so people see what it puts out, and that's all.
That's always good. And I love the upgrade to the premium package for 3 less pain rations.
Yeah, I try to. if folks have been following me for a while, every new account that's linked to the Ironverse, there's some kind of gag or link to it. And I try to make it in thematics so that people who interact with those accounts, if they choose to, can interact as they're interacting with the Ironverse, or they can interact as if they're interacting with the comics.
That's
and
fun,
I'm fine either way. And but most of the time, like Cactus Coyote, his I don't want to jaw too long, is the end, but his inception, how I tried to present him at the beginning of his social media presence, was Jack's rival, and I still try to do that. Where he's my troll, because I don't have a troll and I needed one.
Everyone's got to have one, right?
Yeah.
We'll need one to keep us in check.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We're looking forward to that. And
yeah, exactly.
And Scott, where can people follow you, and what can they look forward to seeing from you soon?
So hopefully we'll get some pages out soon. You can follow me at Kishkuman. And we're just building up for that Kickstarter campaign. So hopefully we'll have a logo and some test pages, and maybe even a variant cover coming out soon that we can show off.
Nice, that's exciting, and hopefully we'll be able to hear some news on the artists very soon, I hope.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of let you all see what she can do. So we'll sit tight on that.
Yeah, awesome. And then Canals, where can people find you, and what can we hear from you soon?
That's a good question. Probably not on Twitter, but you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Canalus. Right, you can check it out. It's got this very logo on the cover, where I do reviews and tutorials and stuff, and also rant about topical stuff. And I'm also on Gap. Does anyone use Gap? Because I'm on Gap.
Gap.
And you can also be following me on Facebook. I'm actually pretty approachable and friendly guy. So if you wanna add me on Facebook, just add me on Facebook.
Nice, man. And when will your new projects be dropping? I know you said you had to put a few on hold. Is Ironsides going to be probably your focus for a while, do you think?
Once I finished the Abductables and Necromancer, which is the project that I have in between, which I'm more or less halfway through now. I'll be focusing on Ironsides too. The Abductables should be available in early March, mid-March. I don't know. I'm just 12 pages left to finish it. Then it's all a matter of lettering and putting it all together in a nice package and uploading it for the fans. But expect to have it by March. Probably Necromancer Tombstone Blues as well. That story that I'm making about the Necromancer investigating a murder in a noir fantasy noir setting, whatever the order it is you prepare. We have everything in that comic book. We have orcs, we have ghosts, we have demons, everything. Whatever you may want from life, Necromancer has it. And hopefully it will be out by March too.
Nice,
maybe
man.
A bit later. Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, geez, seriously. I mean, that's a lot of projects to come out pretty soon.
Yeah, that's why I don't sleep anymore. But
one day you'll get a vacation, right? And you'll get to sip on the
maybe one. Oh, I will go. I'll go on my yearly visit to the U.S. In late summer. So yeah, I'll probably have time to sleep then. Like I will sleep well for like 2 weeks every year. The rest of the year I'll be a full-time artist.
Nice. Well, it'll be well deserved, very much so. And we hope to see you back on Twitter in some form or another, whether it be
who knows.
Who knows? Right? Exactly. Who knows? But we hope to see you soon, and thanks again for joining us. And so we're going to be switching over to our next segment. So we bear with us a second, everyone watching. But thank you again, guys, and good luck with everything. We will. I actually one quick thing, Cody. Someone mentioned they wanted to do a roast episode of you. I don't know if that's in the works next time. How do you feel about that?
Brett wants to do it, and like I said, I've earned it. So I'll brace that fire when it
Nice.
comes. Just let me know.
Give you ample warning.
Well, I mean, just enough so that I can be there.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. It was really fun chatting with you today.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for watching, and keep it wicked.
Yeah,
hell
always
yeah.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
Follow
Take
these
care,
guys on Twitter. Well, Matt, what do we do now? I mean, we got a few other creators coming in. Do we want to talk a little bit about our upcoming projects, man? I mean, we got some news to kind of share about Project R a little bit with the upcoming chapter we have. So why don't we just talk about that a little bit while the other guys while we wait for the other guys to get in. So if you others haven't known, we have a Project R is our manga, and we have upcoming chapter 3 that we're going to be previewing some new stuff for in the next coming months, and it's a really exciting chapter, and it's got a lot of cool stuff. So we're definitely follow us at Project R manga if you haven't checked it out already, and you can find out more about our first manga that we ever published. And it was me and Matt are really passionate about that project, so we really love to share it with you guys. But without further ado, we are joined now by Wes. Hello, Wes.
Hey guys, sorry I was kind of quiet in the chat earlier. I've literally just woke up like 10 minutes ago, so my bearings are like,
Oh, that's totally cool. No worries at all. We appreciate you making time to be here.
Nah, man, it's cool. I mean, I'm always willing to come on and support the brand and support all the fun stuff.
Nice, man. Yeah, I know. I'm liking the new format. It seems like it gives the people a lot, flexibility with their schedules, and it seems like it's been working out.
I mean, honestly, I guess my weekend's been completely scrambled. They changed my work's changed my schedule again, and so now I'm like, now I've got, this I took a vacation day because I thought some things were going to happen in my real life, and it turns out they didn't. So now I'm just here. So I went to bed at 5:30 in the morning and just kind of went, nah, yeah. And then I just kind of woke up about a little over an hour ago.
That's okay. I spent all night editing, work on my novel and stuff, and then I got just a few hours of sleep, and so I was so exhausted this morning.
I feel your pain.
Oh man, but that's what coffee is for, right?
Yeah, that's funny. I really should. I don't drink coffee. I'm more of a tea drinker, but
tea works too. Tea works too.
Yeah, I really should have put a cup on before I came live, but oh well.
You'll have your post podcast cup of tea.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right, and then now we're also joined by Sporkman. How are you going?
He actually said he's having mic issues.
Oh no! Well, we'll bear with him. He'll be here soon.
We will endure. Even when I'm half asleep, I'm not talking to him.
You and Matt, your character in Charger, you guys share that in comic, I guess, or in common rather.
Well, he's actually much more of an inner monologue kind of person, whereas I'm much more of an external monologue person.
Nice, but equally electric, I suppose.
Well, electrifying. I'm hardly the Rock. No, come on now.
Rock. Well, yeah.
Electrify man in sports
right?
and entertainment.
No one can be the Rock. That's not a good standard. He's a unique specimen. But how are things going with Charger?
Well, right now, like I said, the goal is just to the campaign closed. We actually raised about 61%, 62% of what we actually intended to go. The good news is, thanks to Wikid, we are now publishing as a company. We are now actually going to be the comic book will be coming out regardless of what happens. It's just Indiegogo is kind of having a back and forth. I spoke to them the other day. They said that, oh yeah, we're dropping it the week of February 1st. Yeah, no, they didn't. And so they said, but then I called them again. They said, oh yeah, we're going to look at your thing. We're defaulting on 15 business days, which the campaign closed January 26th, which means if you minus the weekends, it's going to drop February 15th. And if it doesn't drop by then, heads are going to roll.
What? So then what do you mean they're not going to...
The money has to clear through the bank accounts, then it has to transfer into my bank account, and then, of course, I have to put it through PayPal, and then, of course, get it off to Troy and Catherine.
But, I mean, they're not going to try and rip you off, are they, man?
I would bloody well hope not. Our heads are going to friggin' roll.
Right? That's screwy, man. I wish you luck with that. I hope that gets resolved.
Technically, it is in their fine print. Like it's at one page says this, but then another page says in their exact. This is all Indiegogo. Like this, like it's not like they're trying to hide it. It's like literally in plain view. It's just they can't seem to decide which one they want to go with.
Huh.
So it's not like I had to read through fine print to find this. This is literally it's on the page, like point blank. It's just they can't decide which one they want to go with.
You said, Matt, you said that Cody had similar issues?
I believe so, because I know it took him a while to get his money. I would want to ask him to be for sure, because I don't want to be given false information. But if I remember correctly, I believe something along those lines was happening. Like, it was just taking a little bit of a delay for him, but he eventually got it.
Yeah, it's like January 26th and it'll be February 15th. So take just under a month. I mean, either way, the money's coming. It's just, and it is in clear view. It's just a bit of a pain in the neck.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jack says in the chat it takes months depending on how you confirmed. Wow.
Oh no, I confirm my identity like they know who I am right out of the gate. So
weird that they have so much bureaucracy and red tape. You know, it seems like it should be easier than that, but you know, who knows.
Yeah, it's just like it's such a pain, and like it's unbelievable how much of a pain it is. He's saying because he had mistakes in his thing that all the info has to be 100%. Then so it's like
wow. Well, but I mean, we haven't had the chance to talk. You know, since the last time we chatted live on the campaign countdown.
Yes.
How did you enjoy the campaign?
The last week or so is that probably had the most fun because it was the one that the most progress was made. It ran around Christmas time as well, but like it was a shitty time to pick to launch the campaign. I mean, the more you learn, right?
Yeah, and I think it did pretty well for, you know, like you said, for the time. So definitely, I mean, you got a really good amount of money, and I think it was smart to go with the flexible goal. You know, I think people always try to go with the fixed goal, but the flexible just seems so much, I don't know, safer to me. I'd be able to get money.
Because if this all or nothing thing, just kind of, you know, I know people are more trusting if it's all or nothing, but thing is, people expect X, Y, and Z, and it's like, but I'd rather be able to get the product out there. It's just a matter of this is how much faster it was going to get it out, because one way or another it was going to come out, just timing, right? But now that we've crossed a certain threshold, and of course you guys signed on to help out the project, everything kind of just fell into the right place. There were, now we can get the first issue out. So we learned a few lessons along the way of what this is going to cost, what that's going to cost. So like we've learned a few things as the campaign was going on. So now we know for the future and future issues what to expect. Actually, it's funny. I've spoke to Troy, and he mentioned this on a previous podcast he was on with another guy. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. Sorry, knock on wood. But he actually mentioned that, you know, I was actually considering putting up, you know, to get another $500,000 on Kickstarter or something like that to see if there was more interest, because there's some people who still haven't backed the book, although they want to. And I have actually genuinely considered it, but whether or not, you know, we should, given how this book is due out by spring, if I want to do that or if I want to use it for like the second issue and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I totally get where you're coming from with that. So we're now joined by Eric and Spork. Do you go by your moniker Spork Man? Do you have a preference on that?
You can just call me Chuck.
That's okay, fine. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's out there or not. So we have Eric and we have Chuck here from the Spork Man crew. Hey, welcome, guys.
What's up?
How's it going? We're glad to have you on the podcast. Man, Sporkman. Let's talk a little Sporkman. How are things going with your guys' work right now?
Well, I've been really busy because my wife and I are getting ready to move at the end of the month. So it's like I haven't really had time to focus on a whole lot else.
Well, yeah, and that's where I can kind of take over here because, you know, while Eric's busy doing that, some, you know, good things have been going on. I locked Jay Ashiro in to do the lettering for all 3 issues of Sporkman Goes to Japan.
Nice, dude. Wow. So, that's actually a good grab.
Yeah, he and I talked for quite some time. I've been a big fan of their work. Him and Kat doing some great work there over at 01 Publishing. And when he announced that he's looking for some work, because, you know, Eric and I, we were talking about relettering because there were some things we didn't care about the lettering and the word balloons and the Japan issues. So that was one of the things we really wanted to redo. And, we're really concerned about getting a colorist and a letterer. And when Jay announced he was available and his rates, I was like, and I talked to him, I was like, oh man, we could do this. So, I always say God works in mysterious ways, man. And so that's definitely a blessing to have him on board. Because I don't know if you guys have ever read any of his Case File Arkham stuff or any of his other work. He's a fantastic letterer and a writer and editor. So I'm glad to have him on board.
Wow, yeah, no, he's very prolific. It seems he's got a lot out there.
Yeah, so and tapping somebody like Jay is great for our project, because I think it helps us grow, as creators, because one of the biggest complaints, I think was some people did say that when we ran our last campaign, some people felt that the lettering wasn't as on par. And Eric and I did talk about that, as one of the complaints. So having that being able to be cleaned up and stuff like that is a blessing. So, but then on the other front too, we got Ninja is our colorist, and he's working on him and I and Eric. We've been working approving his palettes for the coloring. So I got him working on the first issue right now. Coming up with what his palette's going to be for the final. When Jay's done with the lettering, we're going to then send the final proofs over to him to colorize. But we're giving him like test pages to get everything done. That way, he has his color palette and he can just do what he needs to do to finish it.
Wow, yeah, it sounds pretty efficient the way you guys have it all set up.
Yeah, because I've been kind of because I went back and forth, like what was the best way to do it? Have the colors done first or do the lettering first? And just really it really came down to what was easiest is because we have our AI files, and those who don't know, AI is Adobe Illustrator. And that's where you primarily can do most of your lettering. Well, we have those files in the AI format. It's just easy for Jay just to go in and edit those, word balloons and the coloring or the lettering. From there, then I could just export it out as new TIFF files to go into Photoshop for, your friendly neighborhood ninja to do the coloring.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Jeez. That is a process.
But it's all, like we talked about yesterday, all this stuff is all new learning curve. Because originally our other partner, Chris, he was the one that did all this stuff.
Oh,
so I've kind of, and Eric will attest, I've kind of had to jump feet first over the last year or so. Now I've done some Photoshop stuff for my associate's degree, but it was nothing really in depth to like what I have to do now. So now I'm working with, now that I'm working with AI, Adobe Illustrator. So all this stuff is new. And, we were talking like last night with the, getting the right page count and so it's all stuff is all new. So really it's a learning game for both of us. And just trying to officiate because, the nice thing about talking with Jay, he gave me a time estimate on what he could do everything in, and it blew at least my expectations out, what I was thinking he was going to need. And so that kind of what changed the format about everything he needed to do.
Okay, yeah. And so, you guys had a I believe it was Indiegogo a little while back, but you have some plans going forward to come back. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes. Matter of fact, actually, last night we met and we're kind of starting to lay down what we were looking at for the goals. Next week Eric's going to be at a convention called KatsuCon.
I know KatsuCon.
Yep. So
really?
He's going to be at that convention in Virginia. So, anybody who is out there, if you're in Virginia next weekend and you're at KatsuCon, look Eric up. Unfortunately, I'm unable to make it because work requirements. But also, we will have Sporkman Conventions, actual physical copies there, and
Japan.
And Japan.
And I can. I'm excited to say that will be the first official Wikid printing of the comic. So it'll have the new back covers, and it'll have the color conventions and the black and white Japan, and yeah, they're gonna. The printer is working on them this week. He's apparently it's a really busy week time of the year for him. He says he had over 1,500 books to finish this week, but he was gracious enough to get us fit us in, and so he's gonna get those extra books sent down. Yeah, I mean it's looking like it's gonna be a good show next week, huh?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, you know, my wife and I are there for our business.
Okay.
Hole in the Ground Productions. We're vendors, wow. and we vend at KatsuCon every year. But we have 2 booths worth of space, and so if we don't use it all up, we always try to put out some Sporkman stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I know last year we had a fair amount of room, and so my wife and one of our friends were kind of running like the one half of the booth, and Chuck and I were running the other half, which had Sporkman, and we actually got a few issues picked up and stuff.
Oh, that's
but
nice.
You know, some people came and they are like, I'm going to get all 4, you know. So
hey, that's always the best, huh? That's
yeah,
I'm hoping to I got to check and see if see what condition it's in, but I'm considering taking the Sporkman helmet to put on display, because that always gets a lot of people's attention.
That actually sounds quite awesome. Yeah, is there a picture of that somewhere? I'm not sure if I've seen that.
The helmet itself?
Yeah.
Well, if there's pictures of me in the costume.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'd love to see that. I need to check that out.
You can go. Our website should have them.
Really? Okay, I'll go on. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't think our webpage actually has any pictures of me in the costume. Oddly enough.
Huh?
Really?
Yeah. On the
Oh, you took down the extras under yeah, our extra page was that's where all the stuff was, and that's under construction because we're redoing everything for the website.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, Siri.
Darn, computers are all listening to us.
For sure. Yeah, but you can give me a second here. There is actually, if you go to our Facebook Sporkman page, you can actually see Eric. The cover he is as in his outfit
the profile photo.
Can you link it in the Google chat, and then I can bring it up on the shared
Will
screen?
do.
Or, actually, yeah, that should work. Yeah, man, Sporkman costume would just be perfect. I mean, can you imagine being able to sell that on a store, online store or something? You know. That'd be fun.
Yeah, when I made that, you know, I thought I was going to be wearing it maybe 1 or 2 times, and then, you know, after I wore it, you know, about 15 times, you know, stuff started getting a little rough, and my wife and I started working on. We were going to do a new one that was actually made out of spandex, so it could stretch a little bit better, and we never got past like just starting it, and now I have a little bit more of a gut than is appropriate for a superhero. So
I don't know. I saw him eating those burgers. You know, American classic, as he put it.
Hey, not only that, there is always one pool. So don't
worry. I was thinking of that when I said that. I'm like,
that's true. Yeah. That's true. Let me bring it up right now. Hold on. Yeah. I have the image on my screen.
Which, speaking of, by the way, if you guys haven't read that, I mean, I honestly recommend people pick Wanpool up. That's a great comic.
Are you able to see it right now?
Yep.
Awesome. So that's you in the Sporkman costume. What is it made out of?
It is white and red fabric. I don't remember what I have no idea what the fabric was.
That's funny. And then the sporks, how'd you make the helmet?
Well, the main bowl part of the helmet and the sport gauntlets, I had taken some cheap, like $5 Jason masks from Halloween, and I cut off the nose and filled in the holes, and then did a whole heck of a lot of Bondo.
Oh my god!
I'm surprised you didn't just take a motorcycle. Take a motorcycle helmet and a bit of paper, more paper mache or something, and just kind of so you can flip it up and down.
Well, the helmet itself is like a baseball batter's helmet with the brim cut off, and then I have the sport part mounted to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like a face mask.
Yep.
On top of the helmet. Yeah. Okay, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I love the promotional. That's fun.
By the way, speaking of a motorcycle helmet, I can neither confirm nor deny Sporkman's one villain wears a motorcycle helmet.
Lol.
Interesting.
Well, it's actually funny because villains don't wear costumes. Most of them, not all, but most of them don't wear costumes.
Is Charger the only one who wears a costume?
No, like I always kind of found it was something I realized when I was writing it. This is not a conscious thing. It was just something that occurred to me. And it just seems to be that with the exception of, I think, like Shutterbug, Discharge, Bakudan, and like one or two others, most of the villains that he comes across just where they're just kind of victims of circumstance. They kind of just get their powers and they just kind of, or they try to pass as normal people. And it seems to be, which I guess is kind of fitting because I've always been very critical of companies that really make almost a near sexual desire to take heroes out of superhero costumes to try to show, oh, this is what a hero is, and he doesn't need a super suit, you see. Yeah, but people come to these comic book adventures for the visual spectacle as much as the next thing. And it's like, I know that there's an argument to be made about how heroes are not defined by their costumes, but part of the appeal is the suit. So it's like, I always kind of found that was kind of part of the fun. And
in some of the cinematic films, they've gotten a bit ridiculous, and I understand why they do it. They're paying millions of dollars to get these actors. They want them to have face time. The actors probably want to have face time. But when you constantly are taking someone out of the suit, it gets a bit ridiculous. I would say, for example, good movie, but Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire one. I swear, like half the time he was in the costume, his mask was off. And then another one that they did it with recently was Black Panther. It's like, if you're in the middle of fighting someone, you're not taking your helmet off. Take it on, off, on, off, on, off. It's like...
yeah, it's like, or like actually in the worst, probably more egregious ones are Marvel TV. The Marvel TV side of the MCU, because Cloak and Dagger's showrunner said he didn't want to put the heroes in their costumes because he basically said season 1 is my commentary on superhero costumes. Basically, he thinks they're stupid. Luke Cage has in season 2 has an entire scene devoted to how much he hates superhero costumes because apparently his bullet-riddled hoodie has become a cosplay, even though he was wearing that exact same bullet-ridden hoodie before he was gifted a brand new one, and he's going to wear that same bullet-ridden hoodie after he's gifted this. So what the fuck was that scene all about? It's like,
and then there's Iron Fist.
I know Daredevil season 3 is adapting Born Again, and yes, a chunk of Daredevil season Born Again is taking Daredevil out of his suit. But once you put him, but the thing is, what Frank Miller did in Born Again was that by the climax, Daredevil's back in the costume. That's the whole point. It's a triumphant, it's a deconstruction and then building him back up. And when you see him, the triumphant return in the red costume, it's like, it's hellfire, it's brimstone, and it's like, it's Daredevil. And it's a big moment in the comic book for him putting the costume back on. And yet for season 3, Bullseye's wearing the costume the whole time. And it's like, it's almost like a commentary on, there's like it's almost sexual need to take heroes out of the suits, whereas Marvel movie side, they throw costumes on like everybody. Everybody gets a costume. You get a costume. You get a costume. I get it. I know there's an appeal to that, but you have to find a middle ground. But it just bugs the living crap out of me.
Did Iron Fist ever get a costume in the show?
No.
He's
the one who logically should get a costume.
Right. Yeah, that's weird.
No, because he had the mask. Him and Davos both have the Iron Fist mask. Like, they had the Iron Fist mask in their trunks. He never wears it outside of a flashback. In fact, Davos is the only one who wears it briefly in Iron Fist season 2, which is fucking asinine. And then it's like he wears, and he tries to wear this, like, this like freaking balaclava with a hoodie. It's like, okay, dude, you're a billionaire. You know, everyone knows you're a Iron Fist. And if you're inspired by Daredevil from Defenders, you know, the guy who was wearing a red suit the whole friggin' time, you'd think you'd wear the friggin' costume.
Right. Yeah, you have to cover your face. He's not really covering his face very well.
Like, you're already covering your face. It's like, all right, but you have the Iron Fist mask. You have like the actual Kunlun Iron Fist mask in your suitcase.
Yeah,
well, like, in your suitcase.
Yeah, but
why are you wearing this fucking hoodie and belt? Why aren't you wearing that mask? It's in your fucking suitcase.
Hey, hold on here, Wes. It's because they wanted to wipe out Iron Fist. They didn't want him taking over the mantle. So that's why they never put the mask on him. It was all about getting rid of him from the Iron Fist mantle and moving everybody over to moving it to Colleen Wing. So hence they didn't have him put on the mask because it would have solidified him as Iron Fist.
Yeah, so it's fucking stupid. It's still really stupid.
It is.
It's a strange choice, to do the yell because it's clearly an homage to it.
And Davos wears the fucking mask in one fucking scene when because Steel Serpent temporarily steals the Iron Fist powers, and when he gets it, he puts on the Iron Fist mask, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Then again, Iron Fist has a lot more problems than we're
I'm just using Iron Fist as one example, but all the Marvel shows.
That's true. No, you're right. You did have that was a good point. Yeah. It is an interesting.
Guilty of this.
It's because I think it's because the movie side and the TV side are, unfortunately, even though they're supposed to be in the same universe, are treated so separately in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but that's not an excuse for taking heroes out of the costumes. Well, you know what it is?
True.
What it really is? It's they want to, you know, you got to remember English, Matthew. Marvel TV is actually run by Ike Perlmutter, who is the stereotypical cheap Jew.
What do you mean?
He's a billionaire douche canoe who literally friggin', you know, this is a guy who literally, you know, Kevin Feige and Robert Downey Jr. and them can't stand. And the guy who literally says, you know, for like, all the journalists are gonna be there for 12 hours. Give them a can of soda. It's like, what? There's no catering, even though they have to stand around for like 12 hours just to get like a 10-minute soundbite. Like, the fuck are you doing, Ike? And this is a guy who's also known for literally, because he was so butthurt that he didn't have the rights to X-Men or the Fantastic Four. If any of his employees, whenever he decided to grace Marvel with his presence, if they had in their office X-Men or Fantastic Four paraphernalia, he would literally take it, destroy it, whether it's a shirt, he'd rip the clothes off your back. He would literally, shatter a poster, rip it to shreds, break a toy, whatever you happen to have. If it's X-Men or Fantastic Four, he would destroy it in front of you, or if it's on you, and then he'd walk away.
Yeah, he was one of the big reasons why, like, a lot of the Marvel games pulled all the X-Men stuff out. Because he's so cheap. This guy is so unrelentingly cheap. He would literally burn his own, he would literally scorch Earth just because he didn't have X, Y, and Z. This is also the same guy who pushed for Marvel's Inhumans. And he's also the guy who pushed Scott Buck to be the showrunner for both Iron Fist and for fucking Inhumans because he could do it on the cheap.
Yeah, we know how Inhumans turned out.
I don't know because I didn't bother watching it.
I saw the pilot.
As an MCU completionist, I unfortunately did, which means also against my better judgment, I am also going to be watching Captain Marvel.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I heard some interesting news about the MCU, whereas the Daredevil's and all the others are presumably they're all getting canceled, right? Daredevil already got canceled, but I heard that's not the end of him, and it sounds like he could potentially be coming into a movie or a new series or something.
They said he's going to appear in movies, but the thing is, they got like 2 years or something like that for the Netflix contracts to expire before they can put them in other media. But they know full well nobody is going to buy a Daredevil recast, and it turns out the Marvel movie side actually want to use Charlie Cox's Daredevil, but they actually want to use Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Unfortunately, they can't use either of them until the 2-year contract expires, and they are not fucking stupid. They know full well people will fucking lose their shit if they recasted these characters.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, at this point, yeah, for sure.
They're not stupid.
They got
especially if they're in the same universe,
Right.
It's not a Terrence Howard situation where it was just one movie and was so early in the MCU's development that you could get away with it. No. This is balls deep into it where they can't escape if they tried.
Yeah, that's very true. And I for one would love to see Daredevil on this version of Daredevil in a movie. I think that'd be really cool.
I think it would probably be a lot better than the Ben Affleck.
Two characters, and that's Black Widow. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
And apparently, Black Widow's allegedly going to be rated R, and since Daredevil's essentially an R-rated show, him showing up for like 2 minutes, to hang out and then just kind of whatever, and then he bugs off again would be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Widow. I don't know if you guys have heard of any news of the upcoming Disney TV shows, but they're actually coming out with a lot of live action series for the Marvel universe. It sounds like with some of the more main cast.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch, and Vision, Bucky and Falcon, and I think Loki is a go. Apparently, Loki's going to be a prequel series, which actually makes sense because they want
live action. They're talking about doing all these as live action.
Yeah,
they're all live action.
Oh my gosh! See, that's the thing, man. I keep saying I'm not going to get on this streaming service train. It's going to be Netflix and Hulu. I'm fine with just those. But damn it, I just freaking know Disney's going to be getting my money because
I know, dude.
Well, they got Star Wars, and they're going to be putting all the stuff on there.
I was talking with DC United. I was talking with DC United the other day, and he's the big DC mark in our little community. And I gotta say, if DC Universe, their streaming service, if it was available in Canada, I'd be subscribing, because apparently an article came out recently that they're failing to gain subscribers. It's like, well, yeah, because you put it in the continental US, and anybody who's already bought the streaming service you're not going to get any more in the continental US. You're done. So it's like, you've kind of already maxed out what you've done.
Well, part of the issue there too is they should have pulled all their CW shows over to the DC app. But
instead they decided to license them out to Netflix, and it's like they get international rights to Netflix for Titans and other stuff. And it's like, yeah, guys,
do they have their old?
You're paying for a licensing animated series when you could have done this all, and instead it's like, oh yeah, but I understand getting into Canada might be a pain in the ass because of the CRTC and all these other fucking governmental bodies who are just friggin' dicks. I get that. I know it's a pain, but there's a line. If you guys knew those hurdles were going to be a thing, and you had all these bugs that you were going to work out, why didn't you just wait until you already cleared at least 2 or 3 countries worth of hurdles? That is to say, England, Canada, United States, maybe 1 or 2 other places, and that's it. You cover the big 3 and maybe 1 or 2 others, and you're set. Then you release it. Didn't think that one very well because they wanted that streaming money. They wanted to, for some reason or another, they wanted to beat fucking Disney out the door. No.
Well, there is a certain logic to them doing that. More and more people are saying, I'm not going to pay for another streaming service. So
I would have happily paid for another streaming service. Are you kidding?
Well, what I'm saying is, if you have a lot of people who are like, I don't want any more, you're already fighting to try to get them to do anything. So you want to be the first to grab them, because then whoever follows you, they're not going to pick up that customer because you already got them locked in. And so I can kind of see the logic in being the first ones out there and trying to beat someone else.
I'm watching Wikid's thing clicking. They're going to the DC Universe stream right there, and it's like, this is my point. He's already. Well, you guys are in the United States, so you guys have already got this. But if this was available in Canada, I could literally share my screen and I'll show you what I'm getting. This is what I get.
Here, let me go to yours. Hold on. Let's see.
Man, I haven't shared my screen yet, so hold on, just one hot minute. I'll let you know what I do.
I want to give a shout out to Bruce Padnow. Hey, what's up, bro?
Bruce is in the chat.
Bruce is in the chat.
We gave you a brief shout out earlier on your stream when you had Troy and all them. So hey there. We're actually right now just talking about us. We kind of covered the comic books and all the fun. Now we're just kind of goofing off about streaming services and other shenanigans.
Well, and also, aptly named, we're the superhero group, so we're talking about superhero stuff.
I mean,
it's funny because your publishing company. It's like you're the first independent publishing concern, as far as I know, who actually banks on superheroes more than other product. I mean, you got Jack Irons and a couple other things, but
Well, and I think Jack is a superhero in his own right, just a different version of it.
Fair enough.
I mean, Jonah Hex is a superhero. So I look at a superhero as someone who's beyond normal. So really, I mean, those characters could be more superhero too. But
well, if you just take the term itself, superhero, really all it's saying is you are like
you're doing
an extra,
more than
extra
humans
hero,
do.
Yeah.
In its own right, a normal hero is a superhero in a sense. So, I mean, like, you could even say that Decimators, in a way, they're superheroes in their own universe.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones trying to protect the remainder of humanity, in a sense.
Well,
where
that makes
nobody
sense.
else can really do it or isn't willing to.
Yeah, especially as the series goes on, it does more and more take on elements of that as well, I think,
But I think it depends on how subtle you want to be with your term of being a hero or superhero.
A superhero. I mean, even Goku could be considered a superhero in some sense of the word.
Yeah,
exactly. But he doesn't act.
Although
like
I know a lot of Dragon Ball fans are going to be, they're going to be mass reeing at that very notion right now.
I mean, I think a lot of people kind of have their own definition. Like there's people that like Batman. They would be like, "Well, is Batman a really superhero because he doesn't have superpowers?"
I kind of consider him one because to me, it's what he embodies that makes him the actual superhero. He's
the thing is,
Batman's
a superhero because he can do everything that is humanly possible.
Exactly.
But hear me out. But there's a caveat to that. But no human can do what Batman does and be good at it at every conceivable level. Not just health and fitness, not just crime, not just martial arts, forensic science, technological science, business acumen, business science, and maintain.
I bet you he probably has a PhD in fine arts somehow.
He's got about. I think the last that I remember, he's got about a dozen PhDs in different departments, and he's mastered 127 different martial arts at minimum a 1 degree black belt to like a 12 degree black belt and 127 martial arts.
Yeah, he's I know him like as in Aikido, like he's like he's equivalent to like a 12 dan in Aikido. Mm-hmm. And Jack's actually right. He actually brings up a really good point. Batman has the deed to commemorate, so that is technically a superpower. So he memorizes everything that he can do, which is one of the reasons why. Now Bruce Wayne as himself, he's
also able to run on 2 hours of sleep every night. The guy can literally only needs 2 hours of sleep a night, no normal human can do that. And the only time he hates sleeping, and he hates sleeping full sleep.
There are people who can. It's just kind of hard for them. But at the level that Batman can, that would be a little difficult considering what he does.
Exactly, and yet he can do it.
At the same time, I mean, you're looking at a guy who probably knows a bunch of medical stuff at the same time and a lot of things that help his body. So at this way, he knows quick recovery. He knows what kind of things can actually help his muscles grow and become stronger as they recover. I mean, like my best friend actually researches a lot of this stuff because he's really into it. And he knows a lot of that stuff. But
and I actually, it's funny because I have I actually, part of my education is actually in health and fitness. So I see what he can do, and it's like, that's one thing to do what you do and maintain it. Okay, great. But then he also has to maintain his martial arts, his fighting form, his marksmanship, his criminal science, his forensic scientist, his computer sciences, his inventive technology, his auto mechanics.
Like he's what humans strive to be.
He has the hyper focus.
He can do everything. He can do everything a human can, but only a human can maybe do 2 or 3 things. They're good at maybe 2 or 3 things. He's good at everything.
It's
just like maybe like interpersonal relationships.
And I think that's the one thing
that might be his one weakness.
Damn. But then again, is it? I mean, how many?
Yeah, because he's a playboy, dude. But he's like the bachelor playboy. He never can settle down. He's too dysfunctional.
Well, in recent years, they've been definitely keying up the Batman Catwoman relationship, which is not necessarily.
That didn't work out so well.
No. Well, apparently the Tom is leaning them, trying to get them back together, and it's like, well, you better not honey dick me, Tom, or your ass is grass.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fuck you. I'm out.
Exactly.
Sorry for the cuss, but that's just
no. It's cool. Trust me, we don't care about that on this. This is a Wikid podcast, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I don't know, just there's fuck, I was going somewhere with that. I completely brain farted. Way to go.
But yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't. That's.
For me, I've been never really like a huge, like I've been a good Batman. I like seeing when Batman has flaws, because to me he can't be perfect at everything because he is human. I like him when he has those flaws and stuff like that. Right now, I think ever since they made him become Metatron, he's like becoming even like he's becoming OP. Because Batman,
yes. Professor Geek actually covered this, and my ideal Batman actually is when the gadgetry and the technology aspect of Batman is downplay. It's not downplay, but it's subtle. Like it's integrated into him. It's not the be all end all. And I think a lot of modern takes on Batman have very emphasized. I think this is as a response to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and with Iron Man in particular, they've been really hamming up the technological and kung fu aspects of Batman versus what the ideal Batman is he's not just about the gadgets and about the kung fu, but it's very Batman is operatic. It's very big. It's gothic. It's dark. It's more musical in a way. Whereas Superman is very uplifting and very bright and very colorful, and it's something that makes you feel warm and comfortable. Batman is supposed to make you feel, I wouldn't say cold, but definitely like it's like you're like on some great high because everything is big, everything is huge, and it's the gothic romance. But then, of course, the gothic romance, all that also happens to include the detective, the film noir, and he's a many contradicting things that just blend together into a single thing that makes you feel at home. And it's kind of like the mirror of Superman, because people forget Superman is an investigative journalist in his own right. So it's like there is a bit of a mystery element to his character as well.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. They are kind of both investigators in that sense, huh?
They're mirror images of one another. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I wanted to ask you guys. I've been thinking about. I mentioned earlier. I've been watching a lot of TV shows. Comic book TV shows. Are there any comic book projects that you guys are looking forward to right now or enjoying at the moment in terms of like either live action or animated, for that matter?
Well, it did watch the start of the third season of Young Justice, and
I still gotta do that.
Yeah, you know what? Even though they took a break and there were some elements that were like, they didn't really like ham them up, kind of the way they did with the CW shows. Right. But I've been really enjoying the Young Justice. I think they did a really good job, even without the gap and stuff like that. It's a shame because I think that show could have been firing on all cylinders the last 6 years, the gap of the last season,
Well, hopefully they can make up some time for that. Youknow, if it does well, maybe they'll come back for more seasons.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Apparently, Young Justice is split into two halves, so it's like you're only seeing the first half, and the second half is going to air after Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, which has literally anyone said Doom Patrol looks to be any good?
No.
Actually, I like Titans. I mean, that's kind of the only reason I'm watching it in the first place.
I saw the trailer for that, and I agree with what a lot of people. They're like, you know what? You could go to almost any convention and see better cosplay than some of the costumes.
It's suffering from the whole issue that the Inhumans did.
Which was what mainly.
And Cyborg looks like this little scrawny person that like anyone could kick his ass. It's like
it's like, dude, he's a quarterback, not a wide receiver. It's like, the guy, he looks like he looks like a runner on a football team. It's like versus a thrower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's too bad.
And for the record, wide receivers are typically smaller than they are typically the smaller players on the football team. So because they're meant for speed, they're not really meant for power. So with that said, I'm looking at this and going, dude, like, you know, Cyborg's a bit of, like, Cyborg's like what, 6'2", 6'3", and he's like, he's Superman sized. He's roughly Superman sized. Maybe a little smaller, but not by much, you know?
Yeah.
You know, the putting the movies aside, I know the animated ones are have done pretty well.
Oh yeah,
last several years.
The Death and the Reign of Superman, of the Superman.
Yes, highly recommend both of those.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. Do you, like, even if you kind of know the Doomsday story and stuff, do you recommend actually watching them in order, the Death of Superman and then Reign of the Superman?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, because Reign of the Superman doesn't make sense without Death of Superman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
what I loved about it, I loved the end. The end was like, not only did they actually have him wear his DC Rebirth costume, which actually makes sense because Superman was literally reborn that day. Because for the while in the more recent animated film, Superman was wearing the New 52 costume, and then they actually put him in the Rebirth costume at the end of Reign of the Superman. Spoiler alert! And I thought it was a brilliant idea because visually speaking, I mean, the rebirth of Superman, he's now in the Rebirth costume, and I was like, I buy it. And what I loved is that there is a visual homage to Christopher Reeve and the optimism that came with that version of Superman. Yep. And there was, as a Superman fan, that completely just blew my mind. And I was on board. It's a great duology. I mean, I think the Justice League, the version of the Justice League they used was kind of dumb. I would have preferred if they actually stuck to the actual comic book lore, like kind of like what they did in the old days with New Frontier and Under the Red Hood and movies like that, where they were very, very faithful in Year One and Dark Knight Returns, where they were faithful to the actual comic books they came from. But in this case, they clearly went with their own animated original continuity, which is, you know, its own thing, and that's fine. But I definitely, it definitely was a case of what might have been had we started getting that more Byrne, Roger Stern and Jerry Ordway and Louise Simonson and that you know, style. I mean, those are all the writers, not the artists, but like Jurgens' art style. Actually, Jurgens was an artist at the time. Like, you know, Jurgens' and friggin' Burns' kind of art style. What would that look like in modern animation? What that would have done? I would have been very interested to see that, especially with like that retro version of the Justice League with Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Guy Gardner, and, you know, those kind of characters, Fire and Ice, and those characters. Because the actual Justice League, Superman, Batman, Flash, they weren't in that. In fact, they didn't show up until the funeral for a friend.
Yeah.
So it's like, and even then, Batman doesn't even show up at the funeral. He's hanging out on the rooftop, just kind of watching because he's Batman. But it's like, but I don't know.
Yeah, with Reign of Superman, they kind of went in their own direction with that film. You know,
they threw in a lot of things that weren't in the actual story, like Darkseid and a few other things. But
yeah, whereas Death of Superman, they definitely tried to stay closer to that,
much closer. Yeah,
much closer. But both of them really were, to my opinion, and I do agree with you completely on the art style. I would have loved to have seen them really adapt the art style and everything from that era.
My favorite elements of those animated original features, especially the early ones, was when they were going out of their way to literally bring the comic book to life, like the art style. Like I loved Year One is a great example. It's like David Mazzucchelli's art style, and they really tried to get that. Dark Knight Returns. Actually, that would not so much. I mean, because Frank Miller's art style is very, very unique. So they couldn't really quite get that one to translate smoothly, but David Mazzucchelli's artwork, which is a little more photo real or more film noir, they couldn't quite get the realistic aspect, but they could get the film noir aspect. And that really, you could really tell the detail they put into that. But the greatest example I would say was Darwin Cook with The New Frontier. Like they really took Darwin Cook and made it move. And it's like, what the hell? So those were always fun to see. And yeah, I mean, as much as we all love to make fun of the animated version of The Killing Joke, once it actually got to The Killing Joke, we actually enjoyed it, you know?
Yeah, I missed that one. I wanted to see that one in theater. I unfortunately didn't get to catch it.
Okay, the first half an hour is garbage. Yeah, pure garbage.
Yeah. And you could also skip the Batman and Harley Quinn one because you know the whole scene with her and Dick having sex. Yeah. Ugh. Because
apparently they're trying to make
how do I look
now in the comics.
What's that?
Apparently they're trying to make Nightwing and Harley a couple now in the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Now, a part of me is kind of, you know what I think? This must be like a junior editor or a frat boy or something who just got hired by DC and just kind of got into an editorial position, and they grew up with the idea. Well, Harley was Joker's Robin, and Nightwing was the original Robin, so let's put the Robins together. Conk.
Robins, yay!
Next thing you know, they're nesting.
Because, but that's so then they turn around and say the same thing. Oh, but Joker's such an abusive, psychotic maniac, so we're gonna dump him and make her an independent wit. Oh,
but now there are 3 Jokers. Ooh, even more fun.
Yeah,
my brain it cannot handle this much convoluted, and I write a superhero comic.
Yeah, they're getting pretty. Yeah, they're very.
Cody's got it. Cody wins. Best comment.
He
wants to corner the DC porn market.
That's an open market, I think, man. Dang, the Darkest Night. What else we got? The Flash works on its own. And I don't know. We could probably make this work. I think there's some titles out there for this. Cody, we'll register the domain name later. Just remember to message me.
That's actually you're talking about like some comics that I would really love to see them adapt, like the Final Night. That would be another.
Gotham by Gaslight was actually really well done. I thought that was great.
I didn't think Gotham by Gaslight was okay.
The animation style, I think, it was what sold me.
The animation style was
it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they really caught their whole, 19s, the 1800s. Yeah, I meant the 1800s Gotham feel, making it as a, Portmore for London and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, like it was a portmanteau of London. It very much. Yeah, I mean, there were obviously some creative choices I wouldn't have done, but obviously modern Batman. Another good one, actually, now this one was just different for the sake of different, but I liked it as an animation piece, as an art piece, was Batman Ninja.
See, I like the Japanese version versus the American because the dub was just horrific.
The actors they got for it's like, dude, why didn't you just get the original cast?
Yeah,
the Batman Ninja one, like I liked the concept of
Batman
him
going to feudal Japan.
Yeah, and it's like, but it wasn't what I expected. Them doing a time travel thing. Like I just wanted to see what Batman would have been like if he had been in that time period from the very beginning.
Actually, it's interesting is that one of my favorite Batman stories was actually done by a manga. It was there, and now if you look this up, this is a real thing. It was by a guy called Kiya Asamiya, and it was called Batman Child of Dreams.
Yep.
And our Batman goes to Japan, kind of like Sporkman goes to Japan. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But Batman goes to Japan because apparently some weird mad scientist is giving people a serum to allow people to live out whatever fantasy they happen to be because they cannot have that in their real life. Well, that fantasy actually body morphs them into any variant of Batman's rogues gallery, Two-Face, the Joker. And so it's like they get to be their own versions. And the Joker takes umbrage to this. So Joker even points out he's being Hannibal Lecter to Batman's Clarice. And so Joker points him in the right direction. We actually get to see a very fun, a regular Batman adventure that could have actually existed in the main line of issues, but it's still very much its own thing. And I very much enjoyed that story.
Yeah, the Batman Ninja, it's kind of like the further it got on, it was almost like the harder the drugs the people doing it were doing, because it was like by the time they got to the end, and I'm like, okay, this is and every time I would think this is the most ridiculous thing they've done, they would top it.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
And I was just like, the initial concept putting Batman in ancient Japan.
Yeah.
Well, actually, remember, all this is
that would have been so cool.
Remember, every creative decision was by the Japanese guys, so this was their ideas. Like, example, they thought, okay, feudal Japan, they wanted to cover everything about Japanese culture, including the Sentai. There was even like the final fight had a very Super Sentai moment where all the Bat family was running, and then an explosion would go off behind them, and then they would form, and then a giant robot would form.
And then all the monkeys, and then like all the monkeys joining together. I was like,
giant Batman.
What the hell am I watching?
It's the idea. Right? Take Batman and smash it into Japan and anime culture, and then there you go, right?
Yeah. They literally covered every genre that Japanese culture, like Japanese creative culture, has to find in one movie, and it was like it gave you creative whiplash.
That's funny, man. I'd love to see that. I also missed that one. That one looked interesting. Oh, jeez.
It's very silly,
Yeah, it definitely, and it kind of ties in with what we were talking about earlier, which is Sporkman going to Japan. How do you think Sporkman compares to Batman Ninja?
Well, in the Sporkman universe, like it makes sense that you have stuff that is kind of ridiculous and over the top. Sporkman's very self-referential, in matters of kind of like pointing out the absurdity of the world. Some people have said, oh, it kind of like Deadpool, and it's like, no, it never takes anything as far as Deadpool. He doesn't break the fourth wall. He doesn't know he's in a comic, that kind of thing. But he will point out stuff like, oh my gosh, this is kind of ridiculous, right? Like he realizes it when it is. Whereas I think, if you take even like any of the Marvel or DC stuff, it's kind of ridiculous. You have a dude dressed up as a bat, or Spider-Man or anything like that. It's kind of ridiculous. But in this case, it's like, people realize that some of what they're seeing is rather absurd. Whereas with Batman Ninja, it's like either they were trying to be ridiculous and have a straight face about it, or they just went all out.
Yeah. I actually have the Blu-ray with the special features. The Japanese creators, they spoke about it. They just said they just wanted to go all out. This was just them throwing everything they had, including the kitchen sink, at their take on Batman.
I suppose that makes sense. They're given this chance to do Batman. It's like we don't know if we'll ever get another one like this. So let's just do it, man.
They saw it as we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to do what we would do as Batman. No, we're going to take your Batman, because Batman is a Western hero. Yep. So we're going to take your Batman, your Western Batman, and put him in our Japanese situations. And then when he's done, we're going to give him back.
And that's really what Sporkman is. It's he goes to Japan. He's in a Western character thrown in the Japanese culture and the Japanese, but in our case, everything's anime-ish. Now, the thing is, in our story, nothing goes over the top, like way over the top. Everything is still almost realistic, to the most part. It doesn't get you don't get these wild, giant Batman made out of monkeys and stuff like that. No, we still keep it very grounded in reality,
as much as you can with giant robots and kaiju and
it's like all the fun stuff. It's like,
geez, yeah. No, that's really fun. I was just looking at the sending the black and white issues of Japan off to the printer, and man, I do love how the like you said, it's absurd. I mean, not absurd. It's, I guess, over the top, but the art and the it all just flows really nicely and all works, I think, really well. It's exciting,
Yeah, Gifney really hit what honestly, I mean, and this is one of the great things working with Gifney. I mean, he really got what we were looking for, I think, in my opinion. And his style just flows very well. You you know, every artist has their little quirks and stuff like that. But I just think when it comes to action, he does a very good job. I feel he's very fit. I mean, I want to keep working with him, and I know Eric does too. So you know, but you know, we want to make Sporkman a bigger playground for other people to play in too. You know,
nice. Yeah. No, that's awesome, and yeah, I think he does a good job of not only conveying good action but also good humor. You know, it's both brought across well, I think.
Yeah, you know, I when we first started working with him, you know, I was surprised that he was you know, able to just kind of take even stuff from the script and be able to, you know, replicate that. Where, you know, he would, you know, we told him, we said, you know what, Sporkman doesn't have a mask, he has a helmet, but to be able to get expressions and stuff like that, you have to kind of animate the mask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so it is a helmet, you know, that he wears, but we said, well, you know, if he's angry, you need to be able to tell he's angry, you know, stuff like that. So we said, you can be expressive with the eyes. But he was also able to get some of the body language down too, in a lot of cases without any direction. Like we would just, you know, have something written out. Okay, well, we need the frame to be this, and Sporkman says this. And he would actually do a lot of the posing and body language without us having to hold his hand through it. You know, he would come up with stuff and it would be like, oh, that's really cool, you know. So we were actually kind of getting surprises too, where he was adding in the information that we didn't provide, but he was able to get just from the script how to add in that body language and make everything work. Yep. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. It sounds like you guys have really found someone who you work really well with, you know, and but I think that's an important relationship to kind of cultivate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I talked with Giftney a few weeks ago, and he, you know, after the first campaign, and him and his crew, because he's like the owner of his own studio over in Indonesia, and they were talking, and you know, Sporkman to them is still one of their favorite projects that they want to work on. They even want to work on, like, one of the ideas they have is they want to do like an AR app with your phone, where they have Shogun Z and Sporkman fighting back and forth in an AR format, an augmented reality format.
Yeah, we've actually seen like some of the like test stuff for it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds so fun.
So kind of giving that realism to Sporkman, you know, where people can actually, you know, go to different things, you know, walk around and they can actually point at certain things, and Sporkman will do different things, and same thing with Shogun Z, you know. So and you'll see this kind of like battle back and forth with them and stuff like that. So now it's a special app you have to download and stuff like that, but still, you know, that's
cool. Yeah,
and it's also the it's a way to kind of give like a different, you know, aspect that a lot of creators out there aren't giving. You know, we're still working with the original team that did Sporkman, who gets Sporkman, so they can do those kind of things, you know. And you know, they briefly even talked about, you know, maybe down the road, you know, they had mentioned about maybe possibly looking to do a video game, or a mobile game or something like that. So so those options. So, you know, I would definitely love to be able to work with them, plus doing another comic and stuff like that too. So, you know, so I think, you know, there creatively, you got two great studios, you know, us with the writing and stuff like that, them with the artistic style that really can capture what we're looking for.
Wow. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's really great. I mean, I would love a Sporkman game.
I've kind of always imagined it kind of being like the old. Do you guys remember the Batman, the SNES version of Batman, from the second movie, where he was fighting, and he basically had like the different, you know, the different clowns coming in, he's fighting them and stuff like that. That's what I could imagine doing, like, you know, like in a kind of a retro.
Scroll? Is it a side scroller or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a side scroller for Sporkman. That's what I would like to see.
I could see like a side scrolling platformer aspect, and then like some combat and
that'd
be cool.
And he
Right?
may like upgrade his sport, like his gauntlets get a little bit tougher or something like that, like to
Right.
add like some of those RPG elements and
Right,
stuff.
totally.
So that's kind of what I imagine, and down the road, maybe that's something we can look into, So like I said, there's the future is there for Sporkman,
To grow.
And
so many
I
ways,
think we're in
yeah.
a good position to grow the company with you guys, with any artists that we come on board, and with our fans. So
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, I
awesome.
haven't really planned that far ahead, but then you guys have more published work than I do at the moment. So my goal is just to kind of get the book out there. Although having said that, I actually just for being a cheeky bugger that I am, I decided to custom commission because I have a good customer business relationship with a swimsuit company called Sci-Fi Candy, and they custom make geeky swimwear, particularly like for Batman, Superman, anime, all that stuff, right? And she's done quite a few custom swimsuits for me, and I said, well, for fun, I decided to custom a charger piece for that I'm going to use because there's actually a swimsuit convention coming up in the summer called YetiCon up here in Canada. I thought, well, I'm already getting, with the help of my girlfriend, I'm actually getting a table. So if I sell the book and I actually have the swimsuit, I don't know, might get her some business just for little things like that,
Oh yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah. YetiCon. That's an interesting name for a convention.
Yeah, it's up in Blue Mountain. Yeah, it is kind of interesting, but
well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, if people are anyone out, what area? What area is that in?
It's up in here in Toronto. It's technically here in Canada, but it's YetiCon is up in Blue Mountains, which is like the big ski resort. But in the summer, it turns into like a pool, kind of giant pool party.
Damn.
So what you said you're going to have a table there, but it's not a comic convention. What would you define it as?
A convention, but it's not just
a what? Sorry, it's a what convention?
It's a geeky convention. So like it's
okay. It's like an all around,
much like Colossal. Think of it like Colossal Con.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Well, Colossal Con I thought was pretty much anime though.
Yeah.
Is it?
All the artwork I've ever seen for Colossal Con is anime related. Although I don't know, the one that runs in Canada might be slightly different, but I think it's the same.
Anime, anime comic books, it's just general geek stuff. Like you look around it.
That's true. I mean, it probably started as anime, and it probably is a big part of anime. But I went to LA Comic-Con last year, and heck, I saw so many things that weren't comics. So Comic-Cons have really expanded out in many years. So yeah, I do see what you mean about it being kind of a all around geeky kind of thing, and I think Crunchyroll actually was like that too. You go to the artist alley, and not everything's going to be necessarily anime or manga influenced.
Well, I think part of the thing is from the fan base perspective, there's so much crossover, and if someone has a superhero costume that they're really proud of and they want to cosplay, there's only so many opportunities for them to cosplay. So if they're going to an anime convention, they might say, hey, I'm going to wear that. I know at KatsuCon, they were advertising times for cosplay meetup for Marvel,
Yeah. Like Anime North, actually, the big major anime convention here in Toronto, they actually have entire slot allotments for superheroes like DC and Marvel and even Star Wars. It's like, the hell.
I know, right? It's so funny. I always see stormtroopers are usually you see a few at most conventions, regardless of the subject matter. Usually,
Oh yeah, KatsuCon has 501st and Rebel Legion.
Oh yeah,
stuff that are there all the time. I'm a member of both groups, but so people are always like, "Who's coming?" I'm like, "I'm coming, but I'll be at my booth."
I'm also part of the Rebel Legion, and I kind of stick to the GTA area. Although I'm probably going to eat Celebration. I do, however, the only thing that sucks about Celebration is I still haven't found a place to crash yet. I
tell you what,
I haven't found a place to crash yet.
My wife and I were so upset because we've done all of them since Celebration 5, and last time in Orlando we had our Star Wars van like on display,
nice.
With the other Star Wars cars and stuff. But this time around, we were not prepared for how fast those 5-day tickets would sell out.
No, yeah. And actually, a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people are scalping on the Facebook group for Celebration. There's a lot of scalpers. It's an obscene amount. I got my ticket off of a scalper. That's actually how I got my ticket.
Wow. We were thinking, well, maybe we'll wait because we know there's going to be some other club members that, you know, buy their ticket immediately and then they can't go, and they're not going to scalp them to other members. They'll sell them at cost or whatever. So we were planning on getting our tickets that way. And then we heard what a nightmare it is for hotels, and that, well, if you have to commute in, even if you're, you know, ride in the metro or whatever, it takes forever. And so we were just hearing all this stuff, and it began to feel more and more like, is this going to be more trouble than it is fun?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really hard for me to say with as big as a Star Wars fan as I am. And I know I'm going to miss it. I'm going to know that I'm going to feel like really cool stuff happened and we missed it this time. However, how I'm kind of going to comfort myself with the fact we're not going is that same weekend in our area is the Greater Philly Comic-Con.
Yep.
And Chuck and I have been talking about getting a table for Sporkman for that. If for whatever reason we don't, my wife and I are still going to go, and we're going to troop it with the 501st there. And then on top of it, that Saturday night, we were invited as for our business. We were invited to go to some other Star Wars event that's happening for one night. That is basically a party / mini con for one day for people who can't go to Celebration. And then there's like another convention not too far from us that same weekend. So there will be multiple opportunities for us to do other stuff that weekend. It's not going to be like we're going to be sitting home alone thinking, oh, all our friends are at Celebration and we're not. You know, we'll have stuff to do.
Yeah, I just gotta my last concern is I just gotta find a place to crash. I'll sleep on the floor at this point, but once I've got that,
hey man, there's always Airbnb, you know.
I've heard a lot of people
before.
are getting those too.
Yeah, you know, I did that for PAX a couple years ago, and it worked out pretty well. So we're getting close to the end here. As we're wrapping up, I wanted to see if you guys would let us know what you can tell us about your projects and what you got coming up in the next month or two.
I guess I'll go first because mine's the quickest. Right now, like I said, Charger is currently in the process of having its Indiegogo funds processed. We might launch a secondary campaign to kind of get some bolster the funds. I haven't fully decided yet. However, having said that, we should see the first progress of Charger hopefully by the end of the month, assuming all things go well and assuming things go well with Troy. I'm right now currently entirely at the beholden of my creative staff.
And where can people follow you online?
They can find me on Twitter. I'm actually going to start using this YouTube channel as well to kind of start doing, because I wanted to do this, just kind of bring more creative talent onto this. I was thinking maybe also to talk more Charger. I was thinking about doing some DC Universe Online live streams as Charger.
Nice. That'll be fun.
And of course, all of us just talking in, to whatever of our various projects. So you guys can also, I guess, find me here at the Charger Comic on YouTube page, which is mostly going to be me streaming DC Universe while talking about Charger and other shenanigans. You can also follow me on Twitter at Charger Collins.
And so once again, what is the name of your YouTube?
Well, it's here, Charger Comic. So
you're at Charger Comic?
Yep.
Let's see.
I haven't, like I said, I have not even cracked this thing open yet, but I'm going to start.
I see.
It might be fun.
Well, I'm down to, if you want to host or wherever if you want us to host, either way, we're down for it. So
yep, that works too. I was thinking I wanted to start using my channel mostly because I also wanted to bring other people like DC United, Tristan Nerdad's Newsstand, other huge DC fans. It just kind of gets it's a DC game, so I figured DC.
Makes sense, yeah.
Well, you got me there. I got Volt on there, so I'm down, bro.
All right, man. You can just use that, play the characters on DCUO, and just have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to put Sporkman on there. I actually have Natsumi and Victoria characters on there too, so I can play whatever. I would love to be able to put a Sporkman character on there. That would be awesome.
Well, they have enough costume pieces. I just don't think they're gonna have the Spork.
Yeah, that's the only thing,
They have a horned helmet. They have a horned helmet, but the Spork would be it's a very specific thing,
What they need to have is like a basic character model where you can just grab a portion of it and like stretch it out, and change
they're running on an old engine. It's an old engine, Unreal 3, so it's
yeah. Well, hey, but anyhow.
So what do you guys got coming up for Spork? What can you tell us about the next couple months? What is looking forward for you?
Well, as everybody know, right now the Sporkman Conventions is up for pre-order on Wikid's website. So,
yeah,
yep.
I'm gonna link it right now, actually.
So go ahead and please, if you are looking to back us, because the Sporkman Conventions is not going to be in our Indiegogo that launches in March. That's going to be a separate. We're going to keep that separately because the Indiegogo is going to specifically focus on the Japan issue. So the only way you can get conventions is ordering it through Wikid.
For hard copies. If you're a digital person, Comic Central has it and Indie Planet has it. But Wikid's website's the only place to get the hard copies. You can also get one in person if someone happens to be at KatsuCon and they stop by the Hold It and Ground Productions table. We're going to have conventions, and we're also going to have the 3 black and white issues of Goes to Japan there. Outside of that, we don't have a run on those.
Yeah, and then also March 1st starts our about March 1st. I know we were talking about that as a tentative date. We'll be doing the Sporkman Goes to Japan Indiegogo, which will be that will be just the Japan issues. Now there are some good things that we're working on. One of the great things is the artist for the cover actually is going to offer that in one of the highest tiers. If we're doing one of the highest tiers, he's going to offer that as a reward.
Yeah, one thing that just let people know that they say, well, you already have the issues out. Why are you doing the Indiegogo? The main reason for that is we're taking the 4 issues that we had done years ago, and we said, well, I'm talking like also with conventions, and we said, well, we want to update these. Let's get them colorized. We already did that with conventions.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. That's a wrap, everyone. Well,
what?
What
are you talking about? Sorry, what were you saying, man?
No, I didn't say anything. I was just everyone kind of went quiet.
No. No, sorry. Sporkman, was you were saying something about the sorry, I lost my train of thought. Can you start over real quick?
I was saying, like, for people that wonder, well, why are we doing the Indiegogo if we already have those issues produced? Part of the reason for that is we're trying to get it colorized, whereas before we just had it in black and white. We had conventions just in black and white. We've colorized that one. Now we want to update Japan, get that colorized, and we want to be able to offer the 3 issues together as a trade, because all 3 of those issues are basically the 3 acts of one story. So you have the first act in volume 1, the second act in volume 2. So we'd love to be able to then offer that as a trade. It'll have a unique cover for it, and it'll be colorized.
Relettered.
Yep, relettered, have a bunch of extras in the back, and we really want to be able to do that. And then, whether the Indiegogo succeeds or fails, this is going to be our last push for updating Goes to Japan, and then we intend to start doing the next issue after that.
Nice, which is going to be really exciting. I can't wait for the next one, and I know with the colors it's going to look even better, because I know the original one, the art is just fantastic. So everyone be on the lookout for that coming back. You're going to be able to back Sporkman again and get those books, and in the meantime, support them by going on their Twitter and pre-ordering the new book on our website, and also checking out their digital. And thanks again, guys, for joining us on the Wikid podcast. It's been an awesome day. I appreciate everyone joining with us for a little bit of our longer episode. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again, and keep it wicked, guys.
All right.
Thank